Hello, boys and girls, lads and lassies, and welcome back to second edition of Let's Talk Geeky, boys and girls, lads and lassies, and welcome back to. Who's got an echo on?
Sorry, I'm echoing.
Sorry,
Yeah, thank Christ, I thought it was me.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's me. I don't have YouTube open.
I was not muted.
Yeah, that is every time I see that intro, it just gets better and better, and I love that little X-Files-y tone at the end. You know, that little spookiness at the end. I really love that.
Yep, the guys did a great job. Makes anything I've even done look as if I actually been drawn with cranes by a 4-year-old.
No, it's just a wonderful it's a wonderful addition and a wonderful polishing of everything and all the great stuff that you've done on the channel. It really brought it all together.
It definitely did. It's absolutely superb. It's that great. I actually remember nowadays to actually put it on.
Put it on.
Otherwise,
Don't worry.
I think somebody could be coming over to Scotland just to give me as they say, give me a doing. So, but yeah, I must admit, every time I see it, look at the work put into that to make me look good.
Well, the color scheme that's been used, everything, it just looks really good.
Yes.
I wasn't paid enough.
Yeah, you are paid too much.
I wasn't paid enough. That's the bit.
See, you basically on that sentence you put one word too much. I wasn't paid. So, what have you been up to this week? Anything fun watching?
Well, I watched The Bad Batch. Frankly, it's not a lot to watch, really. Anything new.
Hello. Hi, Miranda. Hiya, Jim.
Yeah, Jim actually has been sitting there in the background, just sitting there since about 8 o'clock this morning, waiting just to go. I was
Yeah, him with his camping gear and everything, or whatever Vikings have for camping.
And honestly, I obviously such an innocent boy that I am. I had no concept what the number means. I just put that's the number of the show. It's nothing to do with me.
Oh, behave.
We're nearly at 70. What's the problem?
Exactly. Nearly at Colin's age.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ooh,
No, I just feel that way.
I'm right there with you, Carl.
70, I'm actually going backwards.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
I feel every one of my 553 years.
Yeah, I know the feeling. Hiya, Melvin.
I do. There are days when I feel if somebody held a gun to my head and asked how old I was, I would say 35.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Days.
Kelly, do you want to? I reacted to that. My dad, right up until till his dementia kicked in and he lost the power of speech. Every time since I was a kid, people asked him his age, and he always said 35. And if they asked him what, he would say, 35 and 47 months. He would basically increase the months by 12. Instead of increase the year by 1, he would increase the months by 12.
Well, Jack Benny used to say he was 39, and if it's good enough for Jack Benny, it's good enough for me.
I miss Jack Benny. Remember him? I used to love his. My mom and I used to love Jack Benny.
Oh yeah, his TV show.
Yeah. What was his catchphrase? He used to have an expression that he did. Remember, he used to just have this fake shocked.
Yeah.
Was it not?
Trumpy expression.
Exactly. He would do that, PJ. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you try to play the violin and all that.
Yeah, back in the good old days.
Yeah.
Still on his show periodically on some channel on late night TV here.
Mm.
That was a fun show with Rochester and Mary.
Oh, now we're talking.
Yeah, I see. I only saw bits and pieces of them, but I knew Jack Benny because my dad was a big Jack Benny fan, so that's why. When you
yes, that's right. That was
You
like
mean back when,
trademark.
back when comedians were allowed to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, that's it. Funny.
Funny. Yeah, exactly.
Have you seen the Nutcase? Most recent Nutcase? Apart from Jane Fonda.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a comedian, a Scottish comedian.
Which one?
No.
Alan Cummings.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Has he ever been relevant?
When he started out, he was really funny. He used to do him with Ford Mason. Used to do a double act called Victor and Barry, and the two of them were really good at the start. Then they did the Sky High, or Flying High. Basically, it was about Air Scotia, which was funny. I've got a couple of clips up, but they're very tight on the copyright. If I put something else up, they have been hit twice. Every time I put something up, they go, nope. But I've put a couple of small clips up from Air Scotia, and the two of them were funny in it. And it's just one of those things that then once they went over to States, they started doing movies, and I thought, he's just the same as everybody else over there. Nothing.
He's kind of gone. Is he gone Hollywood? Yeah, that's a bad sign. Yeah, that's always
you should
bad.
never go full Hollywood.
No.
Aye. But oh god, it's basically, as somebody says, send his passport as well. It's not just his OBE, his passport and his citizenship.
It's funny because we've had people here in the States threaten when Trump won, they threatened to move to Canada. Never did.
Exactly. Oh, surprise! Because they thought that would make people actually vote against them.
Is you don't notice them ever saying they'll move to Mexico.
No, of course not, because they can't.
You never want to move to Mexico.
Oops, who did we lose? Oh, PJ. He must have kicked himself out, bless him.
Colin, we've got control of the asylum.
Hold on a second. I've got that clip somewhere.
Isn't there a Trek episode about that?
The dog bumped my arm.
That was great. Put that clip up. I've got it as a clip. I'm not sure I've actually got it as a. I've uploaded it. Let's see if I can find it.
What's the clip?
The Fun Boy 3.
As long as there's no music on it.
There is. Yeah.
Otherwise,
okay.
The wheel get hit.
Well, it's about 5 seconds, as in their.
If it's 5 seconds, it should be fine. Usually a 9-second rule. Anything longer than 9 seconds, you can get hit with. Under 9 seconds, you're usually okay.
If I can do, okay. Hold
Believe it or not, it was Nerdrotic that told us that one.
Oh,
he basically said when he started, it was always he realised anything under 9 seconds was okay, so he could do snips.
Good bit of advice.
So that's why if you look at some of my early reviews, there's the same clips running in the background. It's just less than 9 seconds, just repeating on a loop.
Yeah. We've been watching. We're still watching Supernatural. We're going through that. We're still on season 9. I think we slightly maybe more than halfway through now. Darren will know. But that's again, I haven't lost. Neither one of us have lost any. Love of watching it. It's still really entertaining, and we're really enjoying that. I'm trying to think of what else we've watched. Work's been really busy lately, so I haven't had a chance to really watch a lot of other stuff, really. Picked up the occasional YouTube video, things like that. But that's it at the moment.
Yep. See, Miranda remembers the High Life. The captain.
Yeah, I saw that.
I can't find it. I thought I had done. Basically, the lunatics have taken over the asylum.
Well, just get hit for
Oh,
that.
do you know what I've been watching?
What?
Misfits of Science TV show.
I didn't know there was a
that one.
TV show of it.
Yes. And do you know who was in the pilot episode? Frank Burns and Captain Flack.
Oh, Frank Burns, I know. You'll know, Julie. Frank
Oh, of
Burns.
course you know Frank Burns.
Ferret face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Captain Flag. Remember Captain Flag from MASH?
Yes, he was
I
the
don't
one
know
who was
Captain
like,
Flag, no.
he was like a complete narcissist. He was like,
Yes.
he thought he was so
he was
impressive.
the CIA, FBI, anything. He always had a
He
card
tri-
for it.
Yeah,
because
he
was
always
in the-
tried to sort of impress them all with his credentials and everything, and he was just a complete idiot.
Sounds almost like
Well-
the John Lovitz character. Yeah, that's the ticket.
Yeah.
Well, in the first episode, the pilot episode, Larry. Oh God, what's Frank
Adler?
Burns' name?
No.
Larry. Is it Levine?
No.
He basically he's in it, and he plays the general, the 4-star general. So he does. Let's see. Misfits of Science. I've actually uploaded one for later on.
According to this, it's not available on streaming anywhere.
Larry Levine, Linville.
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 Oh, Larry Linville.
He
Yeah,
plays
that's,
he plays the general.
Frank
And
Burns, yeah.
Frank Burns.
Edward Winter, who played Flag, plays a scientist who's out to sell to the narcissistic general who wants to destroy the world. Frank Burns. So it's basically, I'd originally copied and clipped the bit with them and said, not MASH.
It almost seems like their roles are reversed as well.
Yeah.
You know, you'd expect it to be the other way around.
Yeah. So, yeah. I'm actually enjoying it. I remember it. So when I was watching it, I could remember the bits with the guy who is the assistant. He must be about 6'6". Well, actually about 6'8", maybe taller. And he wanted to be small because everybody assumes because he's tall and black, he's great at basketball. And he can't play it because he was interested in science growing up. So he just always wanted to be small. So he made a shrinking thing. So he just goes, doop, whoop, and then shoo, turns into the size of an action man. Courtney Cox.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
She's in it.
She's the one with the mind one that she can throw things around with her mind. And I keep on thinking it's the guy that was in Taxi. Remember the one that played the actor in Taxi?
Oh, Jeff something.
Yeah. But I thought
yeah.
it's the guy's name's Mark Thomas Miller.
Oh, don't know.
And it looks very like him. So anytime I saw it, I thought that's who it was, but it's not. It's very similar to him. It's just when you see him straight on, you realise, nope, it's not him.
I mean, Zach Allen.
Zach.
That sounds kind of familiar.
Yeah.
Zach Allen, Babylon 5. He played Zach Allen in Babylon 5, yeah.
Jeff
Conaway.
That's it. Thank you. It was Jeff Conaway.
Jeff Conaway, thank you.
Yeah.
Darren has put in the chat, and I completely forgot. He said, Wen and I are also going through the Hartnell Season 2 box set. 2 episodes per week on a Saturday tea time. We just finished the Dalek Invasion Earth. Yeah, we just finished the last episode of that tonight.
Everybody, thumbs holding your lapels. All together now.
Yep.
One day I shall return. Yes.
One day I shall come
One
back.
day.
I shall
One
come
day
back.
I shall return. It's not I
actually got very teary-eyed watching that because it means so much. It's always meant a lot, but it really means a lot more now as well, because we had to fight to retain his legacy so hard, you know, during this last era. That is just so lovely to see him on these Blu-rays and to hear him actually say that in the episode in the context of the episode as well. It was really heartwarming.
Yep. That's
That's
Mark
Jeff Conaway.
That's Mark Thomas Miller. That's
Someone's
the one that
playing in the
plays
background.
Johnny B. Balowski.
Looks
And
like
He does look a bit like Jeff Conaway now. Yeah, I can see. Not quite, but
it's
yeah.
just basically, as soon as I saw him, I thought, I didn't realise he was in this, and I realised he actually was.
yeah.
Jeff Conaway was in a very, very funny show that only lasted a couple of episodes. It was a filler in the early 80s called Wizards and Warriors.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
I've heard about that one. I've not seen it.
Julia Duffy, who later went on to be in the Newhart show.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay, who's
there's
playing
Oh my
Doctor in the
goodness, I
background?
haven't heard that in ages.
Oh, that's Philip.
Oh, okay.
what?
So I can hear the
What in the
Doctor in
background?
the background.
I've really got to soundproof that door.
Wizards and Warriors. It looks like it was also an American comedy series, but it's also a game.
It was hilarious. Lasted, again, half a dozen episodes, but it was funny as hell. And unfortunately, you can't seem to buy it.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, I can see the cast now. Yeah.
It's a great cast. And I loved it. And I'm not, big into all that, normally into that stuff, but I thought it was funny as hell.
Here's a wee nice surprise for you, Wayne.
Oh, go on then. Oh.
Listen, Susan, please.
Thank you,
I've
sir,
doubled
everyone.
up the door. You can't get in. Now move back, child, where I can see you.
Yeah, he wanted her to have a life, so
Yep.
he realizes that she's got a guy that's going to look after her.
I've been taking care of you. You, in return, have been taking care of me.
Grandfather, I belong with you.
Not any longer, Susan. You're still my grandchild, and always will be. But now, you're a woman, too. I want you to belong somewhere, to have roots of your own. With David, you'll be able to find those roots and live normally like any woman should do. Believe me, my dear, your future lies with David, and not with a silly old buffer like me. One day,
Big finish.
I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine. Goodbye,
No
Susan.
tears apart from the entire audience.
Oh. Oh, that scene always gets me. It really does.
Yeah.
It's so beautifully played.
And it's going to appear in my channel sometime over the next week or two.
Just want to ask, is it worth investing in the Blu-rays? Because I'm tempted to get
Oh,
one
yeah.
as well.
I would say, yeah. I mean, we're really enjoying them. They have some great, like in the case of the Hartnell years, they have great sort of collages of snippets of photos and little bits of recorded behind the scenes footage on the sets of William Hartnell, Bill Hartnell kind of kidding around and things, and all of them sort of, bits and pieces of things. And it's just, it's very well done.
No, well, I'm thinking about just getting the standard ones, not the collector's edition, because I've seen the price of the collector's edition. And, well,
Yeah, they're asking a lot of money.
yeah, they're asking a
Yeah.
lot too much.
They are gouging a bit, I think, but they are nice sets. I will say that they really are. And we're kind of committed now because we, once you buy one, then you think,
Yeah,
I want to
but,
get, yes, it is.
John
Powerful scene.
Pertwee's just been announced. Another one, I think it's season 9.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Richard Dodd was just saying earlier that he's just placed his order. I'm going to be doing it soon.
Yeah, we love John. We love anything to do with John. Has anybody seen the trailer for the Pertwee box set?
Yeah, I saw it. The rabbi was showing it, and my first 5 minutes was, "What has this got to do with Doctor Who?"
Mm-hmm.
Until Joe Grant turned up, I had no idea what was anything to do with Doctor. I honestly put in the. I had one of those little glitches, and I honestly put in Rabbi's chat, "What's this for again?" Until Joe Grant turned up, because
I know they do throw you a bit of a curveball in the beginning because you're like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
And then of course you see Joe, and then she sort of gives that homage to Sarah Jane because she's got the Sonic lipstick, and I was just like, "What? Sonic lipstick?" And then of course you say, "Oh, thank you, Sarah Jane." You know.
Yeah.
You know, I
cried.
Yeah, it's the thing that got me the most about that was towards the end of the trailer where it shows her and Stuart Bevan, who she was obviously quite close to off screen as well, but who played her husband in The Green Death, or her paramour in The Green Death, who she goes off with in the end, and that's of course how she goes off with him, and the Doctor has to go back to the TARDIS on his own, and he sort of sneaks out. He just sort of walks out quietly, but Jo knows, and she kind of looks over her shoulder to see that he's going, you know, and it's that terrible sad moment, you know, where he's on his own again. But yeah, that's the bit that always gets me, is that bit towards the end, you know, when you see her with Stuart Bevan and everything, and it was just like, oh.
See, I think the earlier stuff, they had more bits like that. When someone was leaving, it was a thing. It was one of these ones that grabbed you. Whereas they seemed, anytime a companion left, it was almost not so much glossed over, but it wasn't seen as the saying goodbye. It was when the doctors were leaving, they seemed to go through that sadly, the bit where when he's actually saying cheerio and he's at the wedding and he's got the lottery ticket, remember?
Yeah.
It's that. It's almost a case
that destroyed me as well.
To the doctor rather than the companions.
God. David Tennant's ending had more endings than the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
That's what I'm sure that episode was directed by Peter Jackson.
Well, he said he didn't want to go, and now he's back.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to bring something up from that trailer. You noticed the cute baby sea devil?
Yes.
Yeah, someone said that's going to put Grogu to shame.
Yes, Baby Yoda time, you know, whether or not watch this space.
I can see them doing stupid stuff like this.
Give it time,
toy, isn't it?
Yeah, give it time, and they'll probably release it as a cute cuddly toy or something.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
The machine is up and running, so.
Yeah, well, someone's already said it on Instagram saying, "Yeah, release it," and I'm thinking, "Oh, great."
Well, someone said they've already released details, which is some of the spin-offs they're going to be doing. I saw a couple of videos on YouTube. I didn't actually watch them. I just saw the headlines, but apparently they were some of the ones. And Joe Grant, I think Joe Grant or Joe Jones was possibly one of the ones they're going to do. I'm somewhat confused because the next month, I think Big Finish are releasing a Third Doctor and Joe Jones box set. Not Joe Grant, Joe Jones.
Interesting.
But so my sense is, it looks really interesting, a great idea. But as I said the first time I saw that, okay, fine. So the story appears to be that the Third Doctor, played by, I can't remember the name of the chap that does him on Big Finish, but Tim Trelaw. No, Tim Trelaw. I think Tim Trelaw.
Sorry for a wrong person.
Yeah. And he goes, but apparently he visits the old elder Joe Jones. But my thought was, okay, fine, that's great. Apart from the fact that in Sarah Jane Adventures, when they bring Jo Jones back, it's quite clear she hasn't seen a doctor since the Sea Devils. So they're going to have to do something to make her forget it. They're going to have to press the reset button somehow.
But they'll do that. They'll literally either completely ignore it and just say, "Oh, she forgot because of her age," or something stupid like that. Because they've done it before.
It's timey-wimey.
Yeah, I hate that expression. It's one expression from the new show, and basically, I hate.
I don't mind it. I don't.
Well,
mind
because it's basically instead of explaining stuff, they just go timey-wimey. And that you're meant to go right, fine. And you look at when the doctor, the fourth doctor, was trying to explain to Leela about the transdimensional TARDIS. There were the two boxes. Remember, what one's the biggest box? That one.
Right.
But it's smaller from over here. Says no, it's just further away. And that was he was trying to put a very simple explanation to something complex for someone who didn't understand it. Whereas now they go timey-wimey, and you're meant to go, all right, yeah. And that's why I don't like timey-wimey, because they use it. It's like the sonic screwdriver. They use it for everything. They don't want to give you a reason or something happen. They go timey-wimey, and that's you're meant to go right, fine. And that's what I don't like.
I do agree on the sonic
screwdriver. When they can get a screwdriver, go.
Yeah, I completely agree on the sonic. I mean, they've obviously gone way over the top with the sonic, and let's not even go there with what just passed. But even before that, they were becoming way too over reliant on the sonic to sort of get them out of things. Whereas before it was, think your way out, talk your way out.
Exactly.
There's one really ironic thing about the sonic screwdriver. The sonic screwdriver doesn't work on wood.
Right.
Well, it does, according to
but the problem is a sonic screwdriver is a viable concept.
Correct.
And one of the best things for it to work in would be a screw in wood. So the sonic screwdriver would work perfectly on a metal screw in wood.
Yeah, but
because
on wood itself.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's not a sonic screwdriver. It's the sonic screwdriver 2005 onwards is a magic wand. But yeah, because you've done it. I mean, the sonic screwdriver works on the same principle as this idea of an army having to break step when they march over a bridge. So you break the rhythm, because the idea would be you vibrate the screw at exactly the right frequency, and it vibrates and therefore pulls itself back out, or in depending on how you get a frequency.
No idea when Patrick Troughton had his sonic screwdriver.
Yeah.
To unscrew that panel.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why one of the stupidest lines in new Doctor Who, and I know it was John Sims, so you can't expect much, but was laser screwdriver. Absolutely no.
But it's that's why I don't. I like the early sonic screwdrivers. I don't like the later ones, just for the simple fact is I keep on bringing up the same story because it's the one that really, really annoyed me. Remember the one with all the boxes turning up, all the wee cubes?
Yeah.
And they're trying to find out where it's all coming, and then they go through the hospital, through into the lift, and through the back of the lift, and they're in the spaceship. And he walks in, gets his sonic screwdriver, does that, and then tells them everything, why it's there, and how to fix it.
Yeah.
Really? So you basically just went whoop and told everybody what happened, why they're there, and what they need to do to actually stop it. Where is the thought in that? So that's why the sonic screwdriver just got to the point is it's a joke now.
Well,
you can't think of a reason how to fix this sonic screwdriver. Whoop! How to fix it is this. So then you had the one with Matt Smith aging out before the regeneration was given, and you've got the wooden Cyberman.
Yeah.
I don't even want to go where I thought about the imbecile thought that was a good idea.
Well,
But I can understand the wooden exterior because you can shape wood the same as you can shape metal. However, it's if the sonic screwdriver didn't affect it, you would still have all the same internal parts that were metallic, because you would still have the things like for the respirators or whatever, the voice boxes. You can't make that out of wood.
No.
And that's the thing. It's just a case of really these people actually so imbecilic that they think, oh, here's a good idea. We'll make it out of wood. Isn't that really good?
Well,
really?
The thing is, I think the best comment on that was from I really have to decide if he's the second best or the best Doctor of New Who, John Hurt. What are you doing waving that about like a toy? It's a serious scientific instrument. And it's the best line I think about it, because that's what it's supposed to be. But I mean, to link it to the other really old science fiction series, which has been completely and utterly massacred lately, Sonic Screwdriver these days is basically a tricorder.
Yeah.
And I must admit, I would prefer to have one of these one of these ones to one of them. That's the sonic screwdriver I think is the biggest issue with Matt Smith's one, because that's the one when it seemed to be just over the top. I'm okay with one of these ones.
That's a real original classic one. Yeah.
Tom's. That's Tom's one.
The thing is that the sonic screwdriver could have certain applications. Anything you can do with sound, so echolocation, for example, possibly even detecting.
They used it for Pertwee. And the
not running
the bloody remember they were setting off all the bombs with the sonic? Not an issue with that.
Yeah.
But it's the fact is they went from something it used affected on sound on certain things, then they decided, right, we'll do this again. Now, right, we can get it to open this, we can get it to do that, we can get it to do that. And you're sitting there thinking, they're running out of ideas how to get somebody out of the get out of something. Sonic screwdriver will sort it.
Yeah.
And then they can be clever. Things like, we need to get through a door. Can you not use your sonic screwdriver? It doesn't work in wood until it does.
Yeah.
Really?
That's the thing. I mean, it's still very much for me very synonymous with the Doctor. But if you have a good story, you don't need that to bail you out of every single scene. Yep. If it appears in a story, that's great. But it shouldn't be the mechanism by which the entire story progresses, where he gets out of a jam each time.
I like the classic ones because they used it for certain things, like for instance, Pat getting out of that room, so he had to unscrew the panel. He unscrewed it. Or John with the setting off the mines with the Sea Devils. Used it in a clever way, because it's a sonic screwdriver, sets out sonic pulses, so they could actually turn it up and it sets out bigger pulses. Hence the reason it sets off the mines. Not an issue with that. It's when they get to it and they're standing looking at it as if they're reading it. Really?
Yeah.
If you're fucking sonic screwdriver, where's the display?
Yeah, that's the truth. It must be very, very tiny.
He goes to that and he holds it up as if he's reading it and tells you everything it says. Really?
I find it really strange that these days, with the amount of knowledge most people have these days, they've gone backwards, because these days you think, okay, fine. So people understand, okay, well, this is a sonic device. So what does that imply? Okay, so we can do it. You can't do that. Okay. So these are the various things we can do with the device that works on sound. Excellent. And okay, do you know what? Well, if we can do detecting, we'll have it a holographic display or something so you can see that it can produce, so that if it's taking readings of something, it can show you the readings.
Yeah.
But not just look at this thing that's half an inch wide. And then, okay, so having another device that he uses, which is a sort of electronic detector, which is basically a tricorder, because then he's got, okay, the sonic doesn't work. Okay, well, the sonic doesn't work. We'll have to use the inspector or whatever. Because you can
have to use the inspector gadget thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. Definitely. Oh, yes. Definitely have to have an inspector gadget. Yes. But you can do it because literally somebody comes along and says, "Okay, we'll read it." Well, okay, but I can't read the temperatures or anything. Okay, so I've got a general tricorder sensor pad, whatever. Just put one of those in there, and you solve a lot of these problems. But you were saying, Pete, about timey-wimey. And I'm almost wondering if someone's actually sort of got to the bit in the script that they've written the story, and they're doing the script's unfinished. They've got to the bit which in the old days it would have said insert technobabble here, and they've just read insert technobabble here as part of the script. So which is timey-wimey, they're supposed to be insert some waffle here, and instead of that they've just left that in the script.
But the thing is, I think somebody's come up and says, right, we've got a story and we want them to get to here, but we can't think of a link to it. And somebody said, don't worry, he's got a TARDIS, it's a timey-wimey thing. And they thought, oh, that's a good expression. And now they use it for every bloody thing. And that's what I don't like about it. It's the same as some of the older shows. There's certain things in it I don't like about it. Some things they do quite well, but some things it's like the one with the Master. It was the one with the guy he had used. He'd wiped his mind, and he was so innocent. He could walk up. There was the field that was causing problems with people, and he could walk up to it because his mind was so innocent. And at the end, the Master runs him over with a bus. And you're sitting there thinking, now there's an evil man. But the people who were writing the story thinking, we can't have him around in case we need to bring that character back. Because that's a get out of jail. If we bring that character back, all they need to do is bring him because he counters him. So we had to make sure he cannot return. So they have the Master running him over with a bus. And it basically saddened me because there was no reason for them to kill him off. I understood later on that there was a reason. Hey! There's Roman of the Empire out and about.
Oh, hey!
All right, I can't.
How's it going?
Locations. This is my man on the scene reporting.
Looks nice and sunny.
We are
What's
at the
that?
pub in San Diego. They're doing a veterans event today.
Yeah.
All the peoples, and they're doing they're auctions and all kinds of stuff.
That's great.
The beer selection.
And you just walk past the sign saying distillery. Yes, I see.
Yeah. honest, we're here for some other reason.
But I just wanted to pop in and say hi to everybody from the events. And it's pretty
fantastic.
Fun. Check this out. So these are the big vats.
Wow.
The beer and spirits distillery.
So you just want a handle on one of them?
Anyway, they got all kinds of just kind of outside.
Very cool.
Well, they got a thing set up. I don't know where is it. It's in the parking lot. I'm not going to wander that far. It's a mock shooting range, which looks pretty fun as well. But
that's awesome.
Anyway,
hold on. You're in America. What do you need a mock shooting range for? You're allowed to do it for real.
Well, no, not every
California.
That's a misnomer.
Oh, right. Yes, of course. Yeah.
You can do it in a lot of places. You shouldn't do it in, say, the street. That's frowned upon.
Yeah.
there's this big freaking crab.
That is a big
Wow.
crab.
I don't know what
Is
it
that
means.
an-
I don't know why it's there, but it is. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to pop in and say hi to everybody. Sorry I'm not there, but I did donate a bunch of money for the Veterans Fund today here at
Yeah, that's really awesome. Well, much
Yeah.
respect, Roman, to everybody.
That's wonderful.
Well, thank you. You guys have a good stream, and I'll see you around the interweb.
Right. Cheers,
Have a
Roman.
great day, Roman. Don't get too plastered.
Don't get too drunk. Uh-huh.
Is he calling me names? Really? I'm
Yes.
like, really? All right, guys. Later on.
Right,
Bye.
bye.
Cheers.
That was great.
Yeah,
Very
that was
cool.
What
nice.
was that? What was that orange thing in the sky? That was quite unusual.
Aye. I think we see it between raindrops, but they keep falling on my head.
It's just been the same color gray for a long time.
Well, you're in Wales, which
This
is
is a sunshine state, and we haven't
Correct.
seen it in days.
Yeah. Darren put something in the chat earlier that I'm not sure about, but I know he knows this. The pteroleptals had the right idea about the sonic screwdriver.
Well, they blew it up.
Is that what they did?
Yeah, they destroyed it.
Oh, there we go.
Pteroleptals was probably just the writer's idea of somebody that's higher up who actually says, stop it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Give
because,
them a reason to get out of it. Don't actually just cut a story and just say, timey-wimey. And wait a minute, what happened in between?
Yeah,
You built it up, and now suddenly you're telling us what?
Oh, in the Visitation. It was in the Visitation. Yeah.
I remember the line Peter Davison come out with, well, I think you just destroyed an old friend. Well, you said it's a screwdriver.
Yeah, that is a UFO here in Wales. That big orange thing in the sky. Yeah.
An unidentified frying object.
Ah, very good.
Yeah, you just need Sky One from the TV show UFO to fly past.
Oh, now you're talking.
Yeah.
I still need to actually get an intercept.
Da-na-na-na.
Have you seen things like on some of the channels? The guys have got the big flat spaceship just rotating on the magnetic.
Yeah.
Thing. I want the UFO one just spinning dead fast.
Yeah.
Just down my desk.
You can actually get that, DJ. You can actually get one of those. You can actually get one of those, but they're rarities to find.
See, I've looked around and I've never even seen pictures of it.
That's one of the few things I'm actually looking forward to from Big Finish this year is the second UFO box set, because I liked the first box set.
Did anybody get an email from Eagle Moss saying they've been taken over by another company who will be Masters, whatever, something or other? Let's see if I can find the email.
We've been buying our Eagle Moss stuff at the TV and movie store lately, so I don't think we've actually got on their mailing list. I thought I got something from Eagle Moss a long time ago, but I can't remember.
I thought I'd actually bookmarked it. I must have binned it. Because it came through from Eagle Moss.
Dad said the date for Welsh summer has been announced. Friday, July 21st. You get one day.
2027. 2027.
I would say, is that confirmed for this year, though?
That's a preliminary date.
It's like What was that? That was your summer, mate. Oh.
So I must admit, to be fair, most of the time I've done shows in Wales, most of the time it's been reasonably nice weather, if not really nice weather. But that's because Yeagley's have been there. So
yeah. I mean, we go from extremes. I mean, the first time I came over here, we had an absolutely stunning summer, like really warm, like really warm for Wales. What's that?
We're trying to suck you in.
I know. I was like, oh, look how nice it is here now. No, I grew up on the East Coast, so I mean, we'd be at work and there'd be like a tornado outside. It'd be like slamming, rain against the window, sleet, hail, and we'd just still be typing away, yeah, whatever. We were just so used to any kind of weather. So
that's why they basically say it's t-shirt weather up here. The sun could shine for half an hour and people will be out with t-shirts on, even if there's snow.
Yeah, that is so true.
Mm-hmm.
That is so true. There's always some dude in shorts and a t-shirt, and it'll be like 20 degrees Fahrenheit out. And they do.
Happens up here as well.
PJ, I'm going to share this with you quickly. They do have one, but this is very expensive. A UFO. Just bring it up for a second.
That's the one I want.
Wow.
Yeah, that is a very expensive one from the prop store. But apparently, Product Enterprise did actually release the 7-inch one. But if I ever come across it or something in the comic book shop, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I just want one. Just sitting on my desk, just constantly spinning.
Oh. Yeah. The thing is, they released the actual shadow interceptors and everything else as toys for USO, but they don't release the actual UFO itself unless you get it specially made.
Wonder why that is. Yeah, somebody's got it locked down.
Probably.
I hadn't realised it at the time I was watching, of course, but UFO is what's wrong with the whole idea of UFOs. The very first episode is called Identified.
Yeah.
If it's an unidentified flying object, you don't know what it is. You don't know that it's an alien spaceship because you unidentified it. But
well, that is that.
No, I'm to be cautious. I mean, this is something that it doesn't irritate me. I'm fortunately getting mature enough not to be irritated by it. But I do notice that people quite prepared to accept someone for descriptive purposes. Someone used the phrase flying saucer. Flying saucers and UFOs aren't the same thing. A flying saucer is something that you identified as a spaceship. Let us say we all know whatever the shape for flying saucer. If it's the UFO, you don't know what it is.
I think, unfortunately, though, that the terms have gotten
they are synonymous with each
other.
They
are. That is annoying.
Object is something not terrestrial. It's basically they're synonymous because an unidentified flying object could be a spaceship. It could not be a spaceship. It's just that they don't know because they know what all the terrestrial aircraft are and terrestrial light shows are on the whole. Like if it's Venus or something like that, or else it's a reflection from a balloon or something, or ball lightning or whatever, they can identify what it is. So because they can't identify it, it's synonymous with flying saucer. Yeah. And considering none of them have actually ever been described as flying saucers except by the pilot who tried to describe how they moved.
Kenneth Arnold, 1948.
It's like they skipped across the sky like a saucer, as in it'd be like a frisbee. If he'd said a frisbee, what would they have called them? They wouldn't have called them flying saucers. It would have been flying frisbees. But he says they skipped across the sky like a saucer. So hence the reason why it became a flying saucer. He never actually described their shape as saucer shaped.
Darren, you've just proved to me that the goddess of coincidence exists. I downloaded that earlier on this evening to watch at some point. Well, actually, no, I think I downloaded it off of YouTube to watch.
Yeah,
it came up in my feed, and
it's hard to imagine that it's not a Jerry Anderson film. When you watch it, you're like, seriously? Yeah. So, and I was saying to Darren when we were watching it, did Jerry Anderson actually watch this and get inspired? Because there was even like a similar hairstyle to the wigs, to the purple.
Yeah, that's what I was exactly what I thought. It's what a clip with it. Exactly what I thought was wrong with it.
I was like, really? Wow.
Yeah.
£185.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. That's Product Enterprise went out of business years ago. That's why you can't get hold of these. But give it time and they'll probably do a new,
Well, considering, or have you seen the Tycho, he's a titty. They're talking about remaking
Oh, I
the
know.
Time Bandits.
I know who you mean
Time
now. I
Bandits.
was like, who are you
Tycho,
talking about? Taika Waititi.
Tycho woke titty.
Yes, he went with
Ah,
Hollywood,
struck
and
me
what
funny.
happened to him?
Well, accordingly, he's talking about remaking Time Bandits, and Graham Garden has actually said that
Oh my.
he will not understand. Basically, he came out and basically said, "No, it shouldn't be done because you'll ruin it." It's typical. He thinks he's a one-trick pony. There's a couple of things he's in I enjoy. I'm not denying that, but they're very specific of the type of humour they've done. Like what we did in the Shadows. He was in that. Free Guy, he was in that. But I can't think of anything that he's directed that I liked as much as those ones where he starred in as he starred in.
He was an
Free
actual
Guy
character
as an
in it.
arsehole.
Yeah.
He was an actual asshole character, and he actually was he acting? Probably not. He was just being himself. And then obviously what we do in the Shadows
Well, I did
was
like that.
hilariously funny. The way they actually took the vampire genre and just dumped it in its head.
Well, I did
Which
like that.
I love that film. I mean, we really enjoyed that, and
even the TV show was good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he came back later on as one of the council vampires because the three of them
Yes,
who were in the movie came back as the council, which I thought was a nice. They just basically says, well, although these characters are very like the movie, they're actually not because they're here. And I thought that was quite a nice thing. So you're thinking it's a continuation from the movie, the characters, and then they turn around and it's not. It's just basically three individual vampires. It's very similar because you get the originals back in later on, which I thought was a nice thing. But he was good in that. I'm not denying some of the silly comedies he does or the silly comic characters he does are good. But he's a one-trick pony when he's directing. He thinks everything has to be hilariously funny and only nothing serious. It's a snip, 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 snip. Somebody's died, make a joke. Somebody's burning to death, make a joke. The world's about to end, make a joke. And you're sitting there thinking, really? You not actually let something... No, he can't because...
Well, I did like that one movie he did was Jojo Rabbit about World War II.
Everybody talks about that, and I thought it was crap. I must
not
admit.
seen
That's me.
I just thought they're basically... Maybe because of the subject matter, I did not like it because I watched Downfall, and I thought Downfall was a good movie, considering its subject matter. It was all about the downfall of the German Reich at the end of the Second World War.
Memes, Hitler?
Yes, that's the one that all the memes about. How dare he say that about my football team? That type of thing. All the memes.
Those are hilarious. I admit it. They are hysterical.
Yeah, so that's the movie Downfall, and it is really well done. But the idea that they are putting it from the eyes of a child, right? I can understand that because a kid growing up, it's all fun and games, doesn't understand it, so it's easy to actually do things in the background that are just so atrocious, and the kids are sitting there not realizing that is a bad thing.
Yeah,
but then you've got the bringing in the comic character, which is the imaginary friend, who is
Adolf Hitler.
And I thought, no. Can understand if it was just imaginary friend who was maybe someone he'd known and it had died, and it was his imaginary friend and telling him how he did. I don't know. It's just because who they had as the imaginary friend. I thought, no. They're basically just trying to make it light-hearted. So the next time you see it, is it as bad to actually make a movie with that similar character in? Because you've seen him being a jokey character.
I, at the risk of being excommunicated, I actually rather enjoyed Thor Ragnarok.
I've not
even
seen it.
even the silly bits, because I thought, I even the bits where Woke Titty was dressed up as the Rock, I thought they were it was quite a funny film, very different from. But the only thing of his I know that I've seen that I've enjoyed.
Well, with that film, that was his like first Thor film, and don't forget they had to turn Thor on its head back then.
Well, the second one hadn't been that well
Yeah,
received, had it?
so but with that one, I think it should have been a one-off comedy and not, ruined.
See, the thing is, as well, it's the typical that they think everything has to be a comedy. Why? And that's the problem. The idea is, oh, well, it's Marvel. It can't be taken too serious because it's only comic books. So
Yeah.
it has to be comic because it says it in the name. It's a comic book character.
Yeah.
Sorry, comic is nothing to do with comedian.
Well, I just want to bring up one film that's coming out next month. Is Ant-Man Quantumania. And apparently they had to refilm some scenes to make it more comedy.
I think you've got the name wrong there. I think it's the Wasp and Yellow Jacket featuring Ant-Man as a cameo, having the piss taken out of him, isn't it?
Yeah, but accordingly, they have actually reshot it because of the trailer. They'd taken all the comedy out of it.
Yeah, it is a good trailer, and to me, I think it's like his swan song in a way,
or Ant song.
Good point.
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen that one. I haven't. I don't know if I'm going to bother. I haven't bothered with any of the current Marvel movies, and to be honest, I'm not particularly interested in any.
See, I'm not interested, considering I loved the early stuff.
I mean, I liked the first Ant-Man movie.
Yeah, I thought that first Ant-Man movie was okay. Watchable, but nothing fantastic. But then again, I'm one of the ones that didn't like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, I was just going to say about the first Ant-Man movie, that wasn't supposed to be the original story. Edgar Wright wrote a treatment and he actually filmed some scenes. But apparently Marvel went, no, we want to incorporate into the universe, the cinematic universe. It was supposed to be a standalone to start off with, but no, studio interference. And Edgar Wright walked away from the project.
I was watching Gary just before we came on. In fact, we was going to think about what's wrong with Phase 4. And summed up, the thing why I've got no interest in any of these upcoming movies is every single clip, each of them, pretty much everything they've done in the last 5 years, every single thing was women showing the men up.
Yeah.
Now, I can understand the arguments that yes, if we're honest about it, over the last 20, 30 years, most superheroes have been white, heterosexual and male.
Yeah.
A, because that's what sells in comics, but B, fine. But you don't overturn that by making everything non-white, non-male.
Yeah.
Probably lesbian.
Well, it's an overcorrection, and that's
exactly
just as bad as not having any diversity at all. It's you can overcorrect and completely defeat the purpose of what you're trying to do, and that's what it feels like they've done.
It's like in adverts these days. Pretty much every family they show is mixed race.
Yep. And according to their rules, we can't watch it because it doesn't apply to us.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I just don't watch it now because anytime they advertise it and talk about it, it's the only thing they do is, well, it's off. I just don't care. They could actually bring out a Judge Dredd movie, and if that's the way they talk about it, then it's off. I wouldn't watch it. I just wouldn't even spend my time watching anything if they mention that the inclusive, diverse, and all that. To me, that's not a story. You're not telling me about the story. I would love to do? Right, I would love a Judge Dredd movie and a spin-off of Judge Giant.
Yes.
Judge Giant was a very popular character that got killed off.
Yeah, I remember.
But it was a judge that even Judge Dredd respected.
And he was big and black.
He was a lot younger because
Yeah.
he went through his training under Judge Dredd, and his father was one of the Harlem Heroes. And there's a story. There's basically a story, and he also arrested his mum and dad.
I think
during his training.
Harlem Heroes is a sports show I would probably actually watch.
Yes, I would watch.
Not every episode, but I've watched Harlem Heroes, and I don't do sports.
Yeah, and I would watch it. But there's characters there, and they could actually say we're doing a Judge Giant one, and it's about how he actually going through his training under Dredd. I would be sitting there going,
yeah,
yes, aye. But if they turn around and says we're doing a Judge Giant Road and we're just because we want to make it diverse, and I would go off. And it didn't matter what the story is. Somebody could tell me the story is the greatest story ever. I don't care. They advertised it that way. It's not for me. End of story. And I would never recommend it. I would never watch it. I would never recommend it. And even 10 years, 15 years down the line, it's gone. And that's the problem. All these movies will be gone. Yeah. You look at the movies we talk about. We talk about things that are 50, 60, even 70 years old.
Yeah.
And there's also a couple that's actually almost 100 years old. Not that I'm talking about Oliver Hardy and as the woodcutter in The Wizard of Oz, 1925. However, you imagine 30 years down the line, who's going to be talking about the stuff that's on the TV now? Nobody.
No one.
It's going to be forgotten.
Well, I mean, as you said, I mean, the thing is, when they talk about something, if they actually sort of say something like, "What I want to know what the story's going to be about, what the characters are," and the rest. As you say, there's a number of flags which tend to make you go, "No, that's not it for me, thank you." Flags that appear, things like diversity, inclusion, as Miranda mentioned earlier on, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Tycho Woke Titty. Those names associated, fine, I'm not interested. As soon as you hear those names associated or those words associated, no, fine, that's it, sorry. You go through the rings of diversity, the adverts beforehand. And when you got those, what's it? One of the magazines, I think, had cover shots. And most of them looked like they were led to the piss taking of the L'Oreal adverts and hair product adverts. I mean, some literally the guy that but the only actor I think I've ever seen in anything else, and he played. I think he played the guy that made the rings. I don't know. I've seen clips of it, but the other thing, going through that, and I looked through these things, and I thought, okay, so that's their tick list. That's the you can't criticise us because you're a racist if you criticise us for this character. That's so that's going to be the thing where go through these things, and you can almost literally do a tick box of what those things are going to. That they're telling you ahead of time what they're going to hide behind when people complain about the crap they're making.
And that's why I just don't watch it, because if they turn around and say, well, if you don't watch it, you're racist, say, well, you actually told us if I don't see myself in it, then it's no for me. So it's just no for me. So is it your rules I'm following? How can I actually, if I watch it because it's going against your rules, or I watch it because of your rules, you can't have the two rules. And we know they do, because they're not
by our own rules.
Miranda, I would love to see Apocalypse War filmed. I would love to see if they actually didn't even have the money. I would love to see a hot dog run filmed. Hot dog run, one senior judge, 6 or 10 cadets, and just take them out into the cursed earth. So in effect, they could film it in desert. They could do the zombies. They could do mutants. They could do dinosaurs. They could do bloody anything. They could do Judge Dredd v Mad Max, or Judge Dredd v The Living Dead. They could do Judge Dredd v anything, because the cursed earth has got them all.
They could do that with the judge child as well, couldn't they? They could do that with the judge child as well.
Well, that's basically, that was not really in the hot. That's not really in the Cursed Earth. That was when they had to go and find the Judge
Oh,
Child, so
you know,
they
'cause I
had to
thought they
leave.
went to the first Coast Earth for that one, but yeah.
No, it's
I mean,
basically that's where they actually got told about the Judge Child. He'd already been taken off the Earth, and they had to go and find him.
I mean, to be quite honest, there's a few things I'd like to see I would like to see made with modern technology, not with the idiots in Hollywood.
See, that's the problem nowadays. If you say you'd like to see it make, they would make it, and it's unfortunately you're stuck with the feckwits as well.
Mean, can you imagine a decent in the hands of a competent creator season 2 of UFO 2020?
Unfortunately, no.
The
problem is,
and I repeat, that's why I said
technology and done it that way. But the problem is there is no competent.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Sorry,
Whoops.
I missed that.
Hello.
Sorry.
Were you just screaming at us for no reason? Shut it, bloody hell!
Yeah. that's why I said, and in the alternate universe where they didn't switch on the Hadron Collider and we didn't go into Clown World for the last 20 years.
I think that's what happened, actually.
Yeah. Back in the same universe.
We're in the same universe.
Yeah, we're in the insane universe. You know, the universe that is a river in Paris rather than being swimming in said river in Paris. With the current technology and the rest of it, I mean, you look at some of the stuff you get on YouTube, or you used to get on YouTube before Games Workshop went over the top. For even for things like Warhammer 40k, some of the stuff that people did, and they weren't even real professionals with the software about these days. That people did for things like 40k, with the technology that's out there. You could make some fantastic stuff. You could remake, or you could make a 21st century UFO where you've got more information about where the aliens come from. You've got shadow. You know, it would lend itself to these things. It's just unfortunately most of the creators we've got haven't got a bone of creativity in them.
It's but
political.
One thing I do want to bring up about that, Colin, about if you do a modern version of UFO, is that Shadow's got to try and make sure that if people are filming the UFO with their cameras and all this and that, how the hell are they going to stop it?
Well, not necessarily, I would say, because if you think about it, you've still got these days. When did you last see? But one of the complaints about UFOs, the photos are never actually in focus. I say what you're saying, and yes, that would be an interesting aspect of it. Yeah, but that would be an interesting aspect. Something that they'd need to bring in. But you could.
What was the movie? There was a movie. Was it I Am Number 4 or something like that about the boy or the girl who every time she got her picture taken or he got his picture taken, the Guardian went onto his computer and ran a piece of software that took every picture of them out of circulation. So it was like a worm, a piece of software worm. So you could have Shadow having a piece of software, advanced software, that they basically just go, well, we want to remove that, but we'll leave one or two of the bloody ones out there because
of course
so as soon as somebody's phone links up to the internet, gone.
Of course, the biggest problem you would actually have with the 21st century UFO series is how do you account for the fact that I haven't got a moon base because the moon got blown out of orbit in 1999?
Yeah, you got a good point about that one.
What do you mean it's a different universe? It's the same.
The thing is,
it's supposed to be UFOs.
But you're wrong there. They could still have a moon base.
Don't tell me it laid an egg. Do not mention that.
They could still have a moon base. You're just assuming the Earth's moon.
Actually, yeah. I mean, in fact, a base.
Yeah, they've got plenty of planets to choose from.
Yeah, I mean, a base further out in the solar system would. It would make a degree of sense apart from the fact that then it's going to be further out from Earth, so if the aliens are coming from the other side of the solar system, then we're in more trouble.
Yeah. But Colin, you got to remember one thing, right, about the Shadow Interceptors. They never, it's one shot, never got, and always kept missing the target. And the thing is, it was trying to. Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
It was just them trying to spot it in space where it could be so minute, and they still wouldn't be able to get it. And then they went over the Sky One.
Yeah. For all their advanced intelligence, the aliens never managed to work out the way to beat Shadow was to send in 4 UFOs at a time.
Yeah.
Don't send in 3, send in 4. One's going to get through.
Yeah. Because don't forget,
remember the reason why the interceptors only fired 1 shot rather than multiples is because they were using proximity area effects. So basically they knew roughly where it was, and they knew it was so tiny, so distant, they had to do as much damage in an area and hope. It's like a submarine. You drop a depth charge, you actually hit it, because you know roughly where you think it is, and you just want to do the damage. So the submarine.
The only problem with that,
Hi, Mr. Brown, thanks for joining us. We're just actually moaning and shouting at each other about different aspects of different TV shows. It could never be remade today, but we all wish they could.
The problem is that with that, of course, is that the interceptor situation is the exact opposite of a depth charge.
Yeah.
Because a depth charge, you're dropping it into an extremely thick atmosphere.
But what they were doing
you
is
blow something up in space where there's a vacuum, there is no shock. The only thing is the actual kinetic damage reaching the bits.
No. You're assuming there is no shock based on the fact it's an explosion. I'm assuming it's a shock based on the fact it is a packed missile with projectiles.
Oh yeah, well,
a large explosion just.
You'll have the shrapnel
bearings and the traveling at the speed could do a lot of damage.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But so they're treating it like a depth charge. The difference is sending out a shock. What it's doing is sending out a lot of projectiles to do as much damage.
They're treating it as shrapnel rather than high explosive. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. So we know why they did it, but the problem is. Can you imagine the type of shite we would get on the screen now?
Exactly.
You wouldn't have Shadow. You wouldn't have the blue-haired controllers.
Oh, they'd all be blue-haired. Trust me, they'd all be blue-haired.
Yeah, but
for a different reason. Yeah,
they would be different for a different reason.
They'd be blue-haired. They'd be stuck on the moon because the moon's gravity is 1/6, so they wouldn't have to worry about fat phobia.
Yeah, but the thing is, so many things that made them iconic would not happen, and that's the problem. So what they're doing, it's the same as like you pick any of the franchises it's been done, or any franchises that hasn't been done that could be done. The problem is they take it, and then what they do is say, right, we've got the name, now change everything about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, for instance, I nearly picked up a Scooby-Doo, a mystery machine with all the characters, and I thought, really, do I want anything considering what's been put out recently?
No.
And I didn't buy the figures. There was a Scooby, a super Scooby. So he had the cape on and Shaggy, and there was one with I can't remember the character. They had the they had the Scooby-Doo in his outfit as his sidekick, and then they had. I thought it was Shaggy.
Not Scrappy-Doo.
No. It was basically Scooby was the sidekick, so he's got like the spandex on and the cape, and then they had a male, but I thought initially it might be Scooby as it. So it's basically they had the figure. It was the Super Dog, Super Scooby, and Shaggy, and then they had Dynamite. and who he was meant to be the sidekick from.
Yep.
And I was going to pick that up because they had
right,
the mystery
okay.
machine with all the characters. I was going to pick that up, and I thought, really, I like the Shaggy and Scooby stuff, and I like the mystery machine. Yeah, but no,
Does sound
actually,
nice.
the idea of even somebody saying, "Oh, do you like that program because you've just bought it?" No, I don't want even that associated with me.
Yeah, but but are you sure? But these days, of course, if they sold it these days, they'd have to sell it with a pot of brown paint so you can repaint Velma and Shaggy.
Oh God.
But that's,
yeah.
but the problem is
Yellow paint.
even just the fact that the character name or the brand name is on it is enough to actually say, no, I just don't want to buy it. Yet I love, actually, I'll show you one of my picks in the week. Scooby-Doo Camp Scare. So that is one of my picks of the week, and it is a feature-length movie. So I picked that up because I picked that up from a charity shop, but the idea of going into a shop and going up and paying for it, and just people thinking, "Oh, you must like Velma then." No!
Oh my God!
No, sorry, I've just bought this. What makes you think I would have anything to do with Velma when I just bought this?
But the problem is, people see Velma. You're not talking about people in the know. You're talking about normies. It's Velma. It's been advertised as the Scooby Gang.
Yeah.
So if you've never watched it, which most people haven't, by the sound of it, all they know is the name. So they assume because of that you're buying it, and that's
Speaking about Mindy Kaling, or whatever her name is.
Scrappy Doo was the second worst character in the Scooby franchise.
Yeah, thank you, Miranda. Because I loathe that character. It was so
I just like
stupid.
Scrappy Doo, but he's the second worst character in the Scooby Doo franchise.
Who is the first?
Velma.
Oh, Velma. Okay.
Yeah.
So in this show, is Velma black and gay?
Yes,
she was Indian.
She's black, gay, and narcissistic, and fancies Fred. So she's not gay, so she must be bi. But she doesn't want Fred once she convinces him to be a dickless feminist and just like women who are dead like Velma.
Yeah.
And then she decides, I want a bit of Asian because I prefer that better.
Okie dokie.
I was already going to give
Moving on.
And I just think you
on
just double down
before
on
I
that.
rant any further.
Well, I want to tell a little. Speaking about Mindy Kaling, I swear I saw her in Tesco.
Speaking about
the voice actress of Velma. I swear I saw her in Tesco.
Mindy Kaling is playing Velma?
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
She wrote it, of course.
She wrote it for herself and starred in it. So she obviously, because she's speaking it, the character has to represent her rather than her voicing the character.
Well, I was going to say, I saw her in Tesco's yesterday while I was shopping, but there was a woman who looked like her. And I what the bloody hell is she doing it?
It could have actually been her because after that, I'm sure people actually want to disassociate from her and she's actually trying to hide out.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny, but the funniest thing about Velma is
nobody watches it.
No, it's not like that. It's watching the Cope. When the best that the critics, not the fans, the critics are giving 38% or something, with 20 critics or something on IMDb or on Rotten Tomatoes, and then you get 9. I think it was something like 4,000 or maybe 9,000. Stupid number of what do I call it? Of viewer markings, and it's still at 6%. Yeah, I think it's that. I think that is actually even the normies are getting to hear about how bad Velma is, about what the reaction to Velma is.
I'll need to find that Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. Or as it says, they made the supernatural Scooby crossover.
Yeah,
I've seen
we
that
will
one.
eventually see that.
Mm.
Because we haven't got up to that yet, but I've seen obviously like stills of it and bits, and it just looks absolutely brilliant.
I need to get hold of that somewhere. But
the thing is, what strikes me also about all this crap is they say we never saw this. No one ever saw Velma. Velma was the unsung hero. Bollocks! Everybody knew she was. Everybody knew she was the brains. That's why she wore the glasses, because
they had to show she was brainy, because brainy people wore glasses. Mm-hmm. And believe me, I wear glasses. That is a fallacy.
I've worn glasses.
Yeah. But see, I remember Velma and Daphne always, initially, the original series, they were competing for Fred's attention, and Shaggy was competing. I just wanted, I think it was Velma, but he always had a thing for Velma, but he liked his munchies too much.
Yeah, he was always stoned out of his brains.
Yeah.
That was such a great Gen X show, wasn't it? I grew up on Scooby-Doo, the original animated series, and we recently found it on who was showing it? I think it's on it's one of the streaming services had it, and we were having such a good time going back to watch all the original cartoons, and there's something about them. They are so ingrained in my psyche after growing up with those. It's definitely one of my absolute favorite IPs of all time. Except for the crap that's been made recently.
Scooby, I love. I loved things like Top Cat. I love the funky. I love the funky Phantom. I love the funky Phantom as well, and
I love Captain Caveman.
Oh, Captain! I've got a Captain Caveman t-shirt. Captain Caveman.
I've got Captain Caveman to download.
Did you guys
Snagglepuss?
The Pink Panther as well.
Yeah, Snagglepuss. I remember him.
Snagglepuss.
Exit stage left.
Yeah.
See, basically, I love the funky Phantom, and that was it. That was his as well. Exit stage left.
Yep.
And it basically.
Tennessee Tuxedo, the Penguin.
Yes.
I can't remember that one.
Those were connected. Yeah, and those were connected as little extras with the Underdog the cartoon. And Go Gophers, remember them?
Thank you. That's who the character was I was talking about. Remember, I said Dynamite, and the character was the Blue Falcon. Okay. I saw the two figures, the Blue Falcon and Dynamite.
That's after my time.
B&M today. I was tempted to pick them up, but as I said, didn't want to be associated with Velma in any way whatsoever. But I nearly picked them up.
I was going to ask, what was the one with the name with the talking shark that played the drums?
Jabberjaw.
That's it.
That one.
Jabberjaw was fun.
But
yeah, Hanna-Barbera.
I love the Wacky Races. I love the Flintstones.
Yeah.
I mean, Danger Mouse. There was.
Yeah. I actually own a box set of Danger Mouse.
Ah, that's brilliant.
Superb. But it's all those ones. I grew up sitting what my mum used to call me Square Eyes, because from getting up in the morning, on a Saturday mainly, because even when I got up during the week, I would sit in front of the TV until she kicked me out for school. But 99% of the time, I woke up 10 minutes before I left the house to go to school, because I crossed the road and that was me in school. So I didn't need to get up until 10 to 9. I was lazy when I was a kid. But a Saturday, I was up at 6 o'clock because all the Saturday morning TV show was on. Banana Splits. There was so many. There was a lot of Japanese stuff on as well. Remember Marine Boy? Big eyes.
Ah, yes. Marine Boy, wide, brave, and free.
But it basically, you could always tell it was a Japanese anime dubbed because the eyes were like that, and it was typical Japanese. So we were aware. Even as a kid, I was aware that's what it was. You had Astro Boy, you had a lot of stuff that would be on. So I'd be sitting watching it. So
Dodo, the kid from outer space.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember that one.
You remember Dodo?
Cecil?
No.
Say that again.
Beanie and Cecil. It was
I recognise the names.
Yeah.
Beanie and
I
Cecil.
recognize that.
In a Bob Clampett cartoon. I remember the theme song, but I don't
exactly,
remember.
Bob
I don't know if I actually saw them.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I
Okay.
grew up watching all of them. So all the cartoons, I remember like watching Top Cat and loving it, and Officer Dibble, and then watching the Pink Panther, watching the Funky Phantom, watching Scooby Doo. It was a case of the idea that people are remaking them, but they're not trying to improve them. What they're trying to do is change them. If somebody says, right, we're trying to improve this, we went the wrong way because we thought it, and then that's different. And if they turn around and go, we screwed up, we tried to improve it, but the storyline we went with was wrong.
sorry, wrong way.
It's more of a, it's not a homage, but
It's
more of a
not.
hijack.
Exactly, that's
Yeah.
it.
You
They just
know.
want to use the name.
Cecil.
Beanie and Cecil.
Yeah. Yes.
Sea Monster. Cecil
Yes.
was the monster.
Yep.
And Beanie wore the little, you know.
The thing with the wee
Yeah.
turret
Was
spinner.
Cecil
It was the one
seasick?
with
Or
the
was that
spinner,
someone else?
wasn't it? He had the wee beanie hat with a spinner on it.
Yep,
Didn't he?
exactly.
Yeah, aye.
Oh, lovely.
I remember it, but I only ever remember seeing one or two of them. So I recognised the name, but I did remember the wee spinny hat. Or it was a life. What was it? A lifeguard hat or something. It was multicoloured with a wee spinner on top. I remember
Well, I
that.
mentioned Crusader Rabbit before. He was a very, very early cartoon from the late 50s. And I saw him on reruns in the 60s. And they were made by the same guys who brought us Bullwinkle later.
Yeah,
Bullwinkle was a very subversive cartoon.
it was.
Crusader Rabbit was the precursor and was even more subversive.
Oh, cool.
I was looking at Retro Doc. I've got Space Ghost on my watch list. That was one of the ones I
I've
got a
seen
hold
some
of.
Space Ghost.
I remember seeing it years ago.
I
But
do
haven't
remember
got a hold
Space
of it.
Ghost.
Birdman, no.
Mm-mm.
Shazam, yes, I remember seeing that. I
Mhm.
wasn't a big Shazam fan, believe it or not, because I was just jealous that some kid that wasn't me got the powers to be adult. Nothing to do with the powers he had to fly and stuff like that. It was just he was an adult, and I didn't like that.
Yeah, I remember Shazam.
Space Ghost have a TV show. I mean, like a talk show.
What's that?
Wasn't it Space Ghost who had a talk show?
Yeah, Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
That's it. Thank you.
Actually, yeah, I remember that now.
You-
When you mentioned it, he would be sitting in his chair. Thunder the Barbarian. Christ almighty, I've not heard that one for a long time. Oh my god.
I bought the complete Bullwinkle. It's like 3 inches thick. It's huge.
Oh, I had a little toy, Rocky the Squirrel.
Oh,
Oh, I love
I used
that.
to have a toy, basically it's about that size of Rocky. The reason I remember, because I didn't know what it was when I got it when I was a kid. It was only when I first saw it, because the antlers went that way, straight out, and
yeah, they're
all up.
supposed to go straight out.
Yeah, but I didn't know that because I got this thing and I thought, that doesn't look like any moose I've ever seen, because the antlers and then basically they were straight out and straight up, and I'm thinking,
Bullwinkle is not like
and then
any
obviously I
moose
saw the
I've
No.
then I saw the cartoon, and then I thought, is that who? But when I got first given it, it was a toy somebody brought back for me from when they were away on holiday, and they thought I would like it, and I did, but I didn't know what it was. It was only afterwards I found out, a few years later, that I knew what it was. But
Hey, Peter Harrington, thanks
Hey,
for
Peter.
joining us. Oh my God, Retro Doc, thank you for mentioning Johnny Quest, because I was thinking about that one earlier.
I've
That
never
was
seen
one
Johnny
of my
Quest.
absolute favorite cartoons ever. It's
I've
right
never
up there
seen-
in my top 5.
everybody keeps telling me about Johnny
Yeah,
Quest.
I love Johnny
still not
Quest.
Seen it.
For some reason, Johnny Quest, I think, was on Saturday mornings right before the Monkeys.
Hey,
Oh,
but
we're
the
the
monkeys
monkeys.
are around. We are the young generation.
Yeah, I used to love the Monkeys. Yeah.
I still might have them somewhere.
Yeah, Johnny Quest was wonderful. It was science based. It was about, it was kind of like an Action Man type thing where you had this crew, you had these sort of action heroic figures. They were scientists and they were soldiers, and they would go out on these adventures and get into really scary situations and get out of them. And it really kindled my interest in science in a lot of ways, watching cartoons like that when I was growing up. So that is just one of my absolute favorites.
Well, I love.
Do you know who I wanted to be when I was young? I wanted to be Joe 90. Obviously, I don't have the hair for it nowadays, but I wanted to be Joe 90. Yeah.
What you mean? You wanted to spend
I could just sit in that thing
half
and
the time
spin
stuck
round, and then I know how to do things. Yeah, I know how to do things.
Yeah,
I always
that's a shame.
wanted to be Joe 90. That was just one of those things.
That's a shame.
Johnny Quest, I never actually saw.
Well,
yeah.
I was going to say, I loved Johnny Quest when I was younger, and then I discovered the Venture Brothers, which was supposed to be a parody.
Venture Brothers, yes. I've got Harvey Birdman. So I have. My daughter actually recommended it to me, and I thought it was okay. I didn't think too much of it, but it was just one. But that was, you're talking about 9-10 years ago was the first time I saw it. So I have still got it, so I might actually dig it out and give it another go. But Harvey Birdman, I've got. Maybe it's because she recommended Johnny Quest after she recommended Harvey Birdman. That's probably why I never watched it. But it's one of those things. Yep, you've recommended two things. I watched the first thing and I thought, I'm not going to give the other one a go. If I'd probably watched it the other way around, it might have been different. Who knows? But you can't actually get it. See that thing?
Rocky Robin Hood sounds mildly familiar, Peter.
See again?
Rocky Robin Hood sounds familiar. Vaguely familiar.
Rocket Robin Hood, Canadian animated series, according to the great gods at Google.
The only one I can guarantee I've seen which was Canadian was Lex, and it was not an animation.
No.
That was the sci-fi.
Animated, yes. Animation, no.
But I know it was Canadian. It was, and I thought, I want to see more Canadian stuff.
There's some good Canadian stuff out now, but we didn't get a lot of it when I was growing up. We just
Nor me. Yeah, no, we didn't get those. No.
I got stuff that I thought was Canadian, but it turned around it wasn't. Was it Northern Exposure about the Mountie who came down to?
That was
Due
fun.
South.
No, there was. He is right. There is one called Northern Exposure. And that's in Alaska. That was such a great show. It was set in Alaska.
I was thinking Due South.
Due South is about the Canadian Mounties.
That's Canadian.
Yes.
Due South was the Canadian Mountie. Helped. It was posted down. I loved that show. I think the last season went a wee bit funky, but I watched it. I enjoyed it. And Northern Exposure was it's set in Alaska, but that wasn't it wasn't even the both of them. I thought they were, because of that, I thought they were Canadian shows, but they weren't.
There was one a few years ago. I can't remember what it was called. But it was about a bunch of, I'm pretty certain it was Canadian, it's certainly saying Canada, about a bunch of criminals who escaped from the future to the then present day. Because I remember Lexa Doig was in it. Tony Amendola from Stargate SG-1, who played Braytak, was in it. I can't think who else was in it. I think it kind of went on for a couple of years, I think. I'm pretty certain that was Canadian. Wasn't Continuum Canadian as well? Or were they just shows that were made in Canada?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think that's the problem. I can't remember. See that one you were talking about, the person that travelled back in time? Was that the one that was hunting for all the fugitives that go back in time, and he could get them recalled because you could only travel in time once, and he could get them recalled by putting a message in the newspaper, and somebody was scanning the old newspapers to see.
I don't.
And he would use and his computer
so.
was his credit card, so he'd be walking about with his credit card, talking to it as if it was a phone.
I think that was
before
time. I think that's Time Tracks you're talking about.
Is that what that is?
Possibly. I'm not sure. I think because I think there've been a few of them that sort of. Because I think Time Tracks, I think was sort of the 70s and 80s. This was much later than that.
But there was some really good stuff that came out. I remember the one about the guy that kept getting his newspaper in the morning, the morning
Early
before
edition.
Early edition. I loved that. That was really good, and you never found out what the cat had to do with it.
No.
It was always the cat actually woke him up with a paper sitting there for the day from tomorrow, so he had to go through and fix things that happened. I enjoyed that. That was a good idea, but you imagine nowadays it can't be made.
Would you remember?
We'd actually have to remake it and call it "You Have Mail." You get an email early on before it actually somebody sent it. Because the newspapers, who gets newspapers the same idea? Who delivers newspapers the same idea? Can't be done nowadays.
Oh, it was Continuum I was thinking of, actually. It's the one where they came back. That is Continuum.
Right.
Continuum is the one where they that was the one where I was thinking of, but I think Detective Near 27 finds herself trapped in present-day Vancouver with search for ruthless criminals from the future. That was the one I was thinking of. It was Continuum.
Retro Doc, is that HR puffin stuff?
That's the one.
With Ben Rankins get stuff.
With Jack Wilde in it.
Yeah.
Yep, Jack Wilde. I remember him in Oliver.
Yep, Oliver. That's where I first saw him, and then he was in HR puffin stuff, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh. But yeah, I love the HR puffin stuff.
Monster. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I remember I mentioned before a show called It's About Time that Wen doesn't remember, but it's probably
Journeyman was good as well.
It was two astronauts who somehow, when they were flying into space, ended up going back into caveman times. And Imogene Coca was one of the cave people, and it was just stupid but funny as hell.
I've never seen that one, but I remember the Journeyman.
YouTube.
Kevin McKidd.
We had another show called The Second 100 Years, which was this older guy probably in his 60s, has a son in his 30s, and one day cops come to his door and tell him that his father's body's been found. His father got lost climbing in the mountains in the early 19-teens and ended up being frozen, sort of like Etsy or whatever his name was. But they're able to resuscitate him, and he looks just like his grandson. So his 60-something-year-old man has his 100-year-old father and his 30-year-old son, both identical, living with him, and I loved it.
Do you remember one? Big John, Little John?
Vaguely.
It was the one about the scientist had created a thing that would actually de-age him. So basically, and he had to hide it from his parents, but his sister knew, and I think the grandfather knew. So he would basically change from this adult to this kid at the most inconvenient time. And it wasn't. The one that I think it was, and it, I could be wrong, was the guy, remember, in Groundhog Day, remember, I love you, the bald guy with the glasses. I think
I'm
he
trying to remember.
was the Big John, Little John. Just trying to remember it. It's IMDb. Here we come.
What's happened with IMDb's website? It's like impossible to navigate now.
I don't know.
It's so full of bloatware and crap. It's like I literally crashes my laptop practically when I try and look at it.
I think they want you to upgrade to IMDb Pro because so much seems to be over on that now.
Oh,
it was the guy I was talking about in Big John, Little John. I think it is. No, it's no. It's no. I get me. He's just very similar. I'm just looking at his name. Herb Erdman. This is it. This is the basically the Big John, Little John TV show. I remember this. I remember loving this one when I was growing up. So he played Big John, the scientist.
Oh, I know him.
And he changed into Little John. So he did. It was all about that. Big John, Little John.
I never saw that.
John Martin stumbles upon the legendary fountain of youth and magically transformed to his 12-year-old self. So basically, it's a case of he flicks backwards and forwards. I actually enjoyed that. I thought that was actually quite quirky because he didn't want to actually tell the family. But
oh my
so
God,
you had
that's
Big John
no
Martin.
wonder he looked familiar.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I do know. I don't know the show, but I know the actors.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, you had some older actors, well-known ones. Yeah, I mean, I remember Patrick Corrin and a few things.
What's amazing? I mean, the weird thing is, there seems to have been stuff back from when most of us have got stuff back from the kids up to about the 80s and the 90s, maybe the early 2000s. I mean, you guys remember? It's quite short-lived. Was 7 Days. When the guy could. Yeah, when a guy could go back for 1 week and check. Yeah, Project Backstep.
Yeah. I remember that very well, but it didn't work out for season 2 for me. Don't know why.
Or Timeless. Was Timeless? No. There's another one where they went back, and this time they did actually. They did intelligent things like they had. There was a female lead, a white male, and a black male.
That was the one I was talking about the last time we were talking about it.
Yeah, was it Timeless?
They go back and he says, right, do you know where we're going? He says, I will drive. He says, but I know the directions. He says, no way. He says, if you sit in the front and I sit in the back with a white woman, they will get lynched. They drew
was it Timeless? It was called. I can't remember what it was called.
I think it was Timeless because they remade it. And then the second time they repiloted it. Basically, it was a black man, a black woman, a white woman, and a white man. But the security guards were the black woman and the black man were the two security. So they've gone through the First World War, and she's dressed up as a soldier. So is the 4 of them are dressed up as soldiers. And nobody even bats an eyelid that these 2 women were dressed as soldiers. And they were obvious women. And it's a case of these people just don't get it. The previous one actually says, in the past, this would have happened. The fact that he said to him, I'll drive and you sit in the back, shows how they had progressed because he didn't give a second thing, and nobody would have given a second thing if the guy who knew the directions was driving and 2 people were sitting in the back, 1 black, 1 white. It wouldn't have made any difference. But he said, no, I can't, because at this time that would get us killed. And so it showed the progress. But they, for some reason, didn't like the idea that they were showing progress. They had to actually go back and say, see, in the past, a woman could walk through a battlefield dressed as a soldier, obvious woman, and nobody would bat an eyelid. because we don't want it to highlight the fact that
one thing I did like. The one thing I did like about Timeless was that there were actual consequences. They went back and they actually changed time.
Yes.
And they did it when they did a pilot which never took off for a remake of the Time Tunnel.
Yes.
And they flipped it and they had...
Do you know who was in that? Do you know who was in that?
Andrew Roth, amongst others. Andrew Roth, what I remember from the Time Tunnel. But,
was that not the one that had Keisha in it? The one that was in Star Wars? That was the one I was telling you. She was in the Almighty Johnstons. She played Gaia in the Almighty Johnson. Keisha Martin, what's her name? What's her surname?
I'm not sure, but I think because they did. I know they did, and again, they had it where
they had the female was the scientist who was controlling it, and that was played by that Keisha, and she was really good. But when they changed it, they made the person who was a scientist a guy, and they made him so weak and pathetic that he kept agreeing to all these things that somebody would ask him because he couldn't say no to them. And it was just really, whereas she played the scientist, so anytime she needed to do something, she would go and research how it would affect the timeline, and she would give them the information that they can't do this, they should do this, and they need to make sure they don't do that. But it was a case of she learned it from basically doing research, whereas this one, they had a guy doing it, and he was about, as long as you don't do that, oh, well, I need to do that. Oh, well, as long as you don't do this then. And it was that attitude, and I just thought, no, they actually ruined a good idea with a crap idea because somebody decided the old one was no good and the new one had to be redone. And it was pants.
Oh yes, this is the problem so much as we've said before that they do these days, and it has to be this and it has to be that. I mean, what I like is the time travel ones where so with Timeless that where again they actually changed history. So they went back, and the whole idea was trying to reset history in the first place because the thing for me that first got me for it was that the bad guy, well, the antagonist, let us say.
Mm-hmm.
Who up until then was best known for being one of the doctors on ER. So you got an actor who's playing a particular sort of a good sympathetic who's completely changed his career and is now playing the bad guy. There's been there've been so many of those of the shows, the time travel shows.
The problem is even back then they were trying to actually do stuff, and what they were doing is had something that was good and thought provoking. But they couldn't have that character saying that because we're saying that things haven't changed, so you're not allowed to say that. So you need to act so people act the same way to you. So it shows there's no difference from 100 years ago or 80 years ago.
Yes, exactly.
And that's the thing. So because the guy had done it and says this is what used to happen, implying it doesn't happen anymore, then that's showing that progression has happened. Whereas the newer ones, you have to go back 100 times in 100 years and nobody makes any difference, reacts to you in any different way, shows it's exactly the same as it is now. So that's the thing that I can't abide with. That's why I just stopped watching new stuff. It's just,
speaking about time travel, I like the way The Simpsons did it with time travel with Homer and that toaster. Kept going back in time, changing the past, and he ends up getting annoyed with a baseball bat.
You guys remember Threshold? About the alien invasion with Peter Dinklage and Brent Spiner.
No, I'm afraid I don't. No.
Okay, that was 2005 to 6. I think again that was cancelled after that 1 season, 1.5 seasons. That was I watched that, and unfortunately that against and yet another one of these that finished without was cancelled without result. Yeah, basically it was cancelled without finishing. Unfortunately, that was about this team that this American what's it? Was it a warship? Was it there's the US. Yeah, the US Navy ship gets affected by a UFO that appears, and it seems to start change. It starts changing people, and they sort of basically they spend most of the series hunting down people from the ship who've been touched by the ship spread before they get infect others. Because it was. I think I rewatched that a couple of years ago because I quite enjoyed it the first time around.
What program are we talking about?
This one was called Threshold.
Right. Oh, is that the one that's on Tubi that they're talking about on the chat?
Not
or
sure.
Is that the one about the guy who lived forever?
Forever. Yeah.
So Forever's on Tubi
right now on Just Watch.
Right. I'll need to look at that as well. But
is that the one where he's? Is that the one where he's a vampire, or is that another one I'm thinking of?
No, I don't think he's a vampire.
Night or something.
I don't think he's a vampire in this one.
Okay, because I'm thinking there's another one. Is it Forever Night where the guy's couple something and because he's on permanent night shift because he's actually a vampire?
I've heard of that. It rings a bell. I can't remember the name.
I think it might be Forever Night.
See, there's a lot. The thing is, you look at all the good programs we're talking about. You imagine in 10 years' time who's going to be talking about the stuff we've seen that's been on the TV the last 10 years. I can't imagine anybody sitting down and discussing some of the stuff. I can't even imagine them actually discussing.
I don't think the attention span will be there.
I can't even imagine them talking about it next year
anymore.
Oh, come on!
So,
wow.
Right, what we're going to do is we are going to bring this up.
Night was.
Right, hold on.
Pick of the week.
That way, Wen wouldn't be able to miss it.
That's
I don't know
great.
if anybody's got anything great, but Alec, you want to go first?
We do want to see what everybody's got.
I'll let someone else go first because I've got to sort it out.
Right, you sort it out. Who's got picks of the week?
I haven't got anything this week. I had an inkling that there might be some others that had something to show this week.
No,
I do have.
Pieces.
You have some, PJ, don't you?
I've always got some.
Yes, you do.
Sure, I've got bits and pieces. But first thing I got, I was showing them earlier. I got myself another new Porky. Got myself another Porky pie.
Oh, very nice.
I remember I lost my last one at the airport. I ordered this before Christmas. It eventually turned up. So I got myself another wee pork pie hat. It saves me
very nice.
My fedora because the fedora looks cool, but it's dead dressy. Whereas if I'm still with a t-shirt on,
very
my Porky,
very fetching. Very fetching. Yes, it looks. It suits you.
About when it fitted. And obviously, I showed this Scooby-Doo Camp Scare. I picked up another couple of DVDs. I picked up a Blu-ray for a whole 30 pence.
Oh, Pacific Rim, yeah.
30 pence. That's
wow.
About 40 cents.
A Blu-ray for 30 pence. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So
that's fantastic.
It is, and double DVD. So looking forward to that. See what's in it anyway. And it's also got the codes for downloading it if I wanted it. But I've got it. So I got that.
I don't see the point in downloading it if you've got the hard copy.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody remember this one?
Oh my God.
Freaky Friday. That's a remake though, isn't it?
It is a remake. This is the one with Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan.
Do you remember Freaky Friday when it first came out?
With
yeah, it was Freaky Friday with Clarice Starling. What's the actress's name?
Jodie Foster.
Was she in that?
Jodie Foster.
It was Jodie Foster.
Who's in another one?
No, because I
Which
was
one?
thinking of Stacey.
Let's have a look.
But it's Jodie Foster was in the original
Freaky Friday, 1976.
Jodie
I
Foster.
remember going to see that in the movies. Yeah, it was Jodie Foster was in it.
Yeah.
John Aston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So basically, I remember the original, but I was told this one was actually not bad as a remake because of who the two in it are. I thought
I do like Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan. Her early stuff was actually okay. So
Lindsay Lohan's really early stuff. Yeah, I remember seeing another film that she did. It wasn't Freaky Friday. It was something else, and she was so cute. She's destroyed herself.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Was that not a remake of The Parent Trap?
Yeah, I think it might have been.
Because I've got The Parent Trap with Hayley Mills in it.
I've got The Parent Trap with Hayley Mills.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember, was it Lindsay Lohan that did The Parent Trap, the remake?
Yes, it was Lindsay Lohan, Natasha Richardson, and Dennis Quaid. No, not Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid.
The one I'm thinking of with Lindsay Lohan had the model. I can't think of her name. Where she's like a doll that comes to life or something.
I don't know that one.
The only one I know like that is Mannequin.
No, it's not Mannequin. It's
you're not kidding. I know it's Kim Cattrall.
I can't think of the name of the film, but she was in another one that I saw, and I have always think to myself, what a cute, just an adorable kid she was, and it's just horrifying. It's just so sad.
Something terrible
to see what's happened to them. It really is. That industry just destroys people.
Yeah,
I totally agree, Kat.
Having two noses, two nostrils to one, stuff like that. But I picked up this one, Jason Statham. I've never even heard of this one.
Oh, you've got my attention already.
It's called Blitz.
No, not heard of that one.
Never heard of this one. The Strath has never been better. Aidan Gillian and Paddy Constantine.
I remember Michael Constantine. Oh, that's Constantine. Never mind.
Oh, somebody's coming to see you.
Right, you coming up to say hello? Right here, bring that up. There you go. Right, sit there. Right, sit up and say hello while I'm actually doing this. Yeah, you're crimping my vibe.
Is that Buddy? Oh no, yeah, that's Buddy.
That's Buddy, aye.
Yeah.
Right, say hello. Say hello. That there, look.
Hello, Buddy.
Oh,
you look dead.
That there, You definitely know Wendy's talking to you. Right,
hello, Buddy.
Okay. Just
Buddy.
turn your back to everybody.
Oh, he's like, nope, my dad's here.
No, that's what I'm saying. I found a way to actually make sure it looks like they actually like me. Is when I go out for a steak, I just keep it rubbed down there so they're just like the steak off my face.
Or do you do that trick that Jack Nicholson does, and as good as it gets, he keeps bacon in his pocket?
No, I just basically rub it all over my beard. I keep it in my beard.
That's a wonderful film, in my opinion. I absolutely love that film, as good as it gets. And there's a Brussels Griffon, I think they're called, the breed of dog in that. And it will just totally, just laughing at what Melvin put in the chat. It will just totally change your whole outlook on those particular dogs, because you see them, you think, they're obviously a very unique, breed. But the dog in that film is so funny.
Yeah.
It's such a great film.
Have you done your pick of the week, VJ?
No, I've only got two more. Well, three more. Right, next one is, remember that one?
Oh, yeah, classic. Yeah, that's really good.
Speed. I picked that up today, so I thought, I'll watch that. The only other thing I picked up, I must admit, was a documentary, Lancaster Bombers.
Ah, nice one.
Wow.
The aviation, the fascinating story of one of the icons of British aviation history. So I picked that up. And the last thing I got a jigsaw.
Ooh,
Right.
You can.
I'm one of those in ages.
In the big screen. Hold on
I
a
do
wee
love
sec.
them.
Oh no.
Ah,
The Bruins.
Aye, it's no the Browns, it's the Bruins.
The Bruins. Wow.
Fun-
I'm not sure what that is, but it looks cool.
Favourites. Well, you had Ur Wally and the Bruins. Where
Okay.
Basically comic strips in Scotland. And Ur Wally and the Bruins. The Bruins are a big family of 13. So you got Ma and Pa. The names were actually quite original. So you had Ma and Pa, you had Grandpa, you had the Bayham, you had the twins, you had Horace, you had Maggie, you had Daphne, you had Hen, and you had Joe.
Wow.
That's the Waltons.
It's basically yes, and they stayed in Glebe Street in Glasgow. So that's basically a high quality reproduction of the original 1943 edition. So looking forward to doing that one. So
That is something else. Yeah.
Very cool.
that's the
Yeah,
big
that is
family.
cool.
So basically a big Scottish family, and it was on it was in the comic strip, the Sunday Post. Every Sunday we would sit and watch and read the Bruins. Then my mum started actually collecting the albums, so she got every year I would buy her the Bruins or the Urwilly because they used to alternate them. Then they started putting them all out, realised that people would buy them every year instead of every second year. So yeah, I
That
do
is really
like the
cool.
Bruins. So that's my last pick of the week, and it's the one I'm actually so looking forward to. Cost me a whole £1.25 for a jigsaw. So obviously I got my one or two other things that I showed the guys. Sweeties. But that's just my flying saucers, and I've got a load more. But that's
You got
my
more sweets in your house than I do, and I don't have diabetes.
I'm diabetic. Yeah, I've got more sweets, haven't I? You're just sitting there because you know in there I've got a box full of stuff for you. You do. Which I've got for myself is that size, and the box I've got for the dogs is that size. It's the same size. Every time I have one, they have one, so that's why
Yep.
he's basically going, eat up, you need. He basically acts like that when I'm having a hypo, so he's just pretending I'm having a hypo so he can get a treat. Ain't you? You're at it. Ain't you? Right, say cheerio. Right. Ooh. Yes,
He's
I
so
know.
teeny.
I think
I
dogs.
can hear Dozy ass coming in as well. So, right.
I got nothing this week, so
yeah, I'm waiting.
No, me.
I'm just waiting for BJ to come back so I can. I've got my two picks of the week, and one's got identical music to go with it.
Mm.
Sorry, guys. I was just getting a wee oxo. My wife is supplying me with something hot to drink. So a wee oxo cube.
Lovely.
So, it's
Oh
no
my
sugar on
God.
it.
how much sugar is that in your tea?
No, that's salt.
Oh,
He's having an oxo. Yeah,
I'm
like
having
a
a-
bouillon,
right, it's
like a
good.
little bouillon cube.
You have
Yeah.
high blood pressure too?
Nice and warm.
Just need some bread to dip it in.
No. Just drink it all up. It's like having a Bovril, but I'm not a big Bovril person. I like oxo.
Yeah, I like the oxos myself.
Right.
Okay,
Went
shall I
to the
show
popper.
mine?
I remember that one. I've obviously skipped past a lot, so I missed a lot when I was chatting.
So we're gonna have a look and see what
Yep.
Alex has
Right, Alex.
got.
Okay, Alex, what do you got?
What have I got? Well, as I sold my telescope yesterday to my cousin
Oh,
for £50 because I'm getting a new telescope in the future, I bought this first item on Amazon, and there's about 4 Blu-rays. And I don't know if anyone's familiar with this monster. I got the
Gamera!
Gamera.
I love Gamera. Yeah, cool.
And
I've got his pal up there.
wait for it.
Yes, you do.
Yeah,
I'm
very
jealous of that.
Check out the artwork.
It's a little
Yeah,
bit
that-
glary on the.
a
Oh
wee bit-
yeah,
that's
that's
perfect.
good.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
great.
Oh wow,
And the greatest thing about these is that if I take the sleeve off, you've
they've
got
kept his sort of lower
Japanese-
fangs too. That's
yeah.
cool.
They do the
So-
Japanese, the transverse. Yeah, I've got Kong.
Nice.
I've got Godzilla up there.
That'd be cool in a
Oh, yeah.
poster.
Oh yes. So you got Guardian of the Universe.
See, that's a better Garden of the Universe than the crap that Marvel have been putting out.
Yeah. The Event of Legion.
See, the
Mhm.
artwork on that as well.
And that's got the comedy dub, but not the actual comedy dub because how can I put it? They've wiped a few things off the comedy dub, typical of them. Revenge of Isis.
We're going to do a
And-
review of these eventually because I've
Yep.
got a hold of them as well.
And Gamera the Brave, which was a one-off in the 2000s.
That's a cool cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
colours on that are absolutely superb.
And all I can say, getting these on Blu-ray today has made me a happy man. At least I've got something to watch tonight.
Ideal.
So get
Nice.
it while you can because they sell out fast on Amazon.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
I've completely lost track of what's happening with that particular
Right.
IP. I mean, I grew up on the original Godzilla things on the 430 movie.
Thought I remember 4:30 movie.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you know the worst part about it? I've got a lot of the movies going back,
All right.
and I put the very first Godzilla. This is the first time when you see him on screen coming out to sea.
What,
2 minute
1954?
screen,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't only get a copyright notification, I got a copyright strike.
Oh,
Japan
yeah.
for their Godzilla and their monsters are very, very strict.
Yeah.
They'll
Yep.
bounce anything that's got it on it, which is unfortunate because I love it and I would love to actually show clips of it as well. But
Yeah, yeah.
there's
No,
no way in earth.
Right.
Well,
Well,
so it's unfortunate.
okay. My next item, because it comes with its own music. You know, a while ago I picked up Stingray.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've got to promote the comic book shop tonight because I promised the guy. Because he sold me this next item, which I picked up for £20. It's a shame it's not boxed. But if I can bring up the music, here we go. An angel interceptor.
Now that is
Hey.
actually cool.
That's cool.
Is
Yeah,
that
it has
Angel
a bit-
One?
Well, I can't tell. They're all the same to me.
That is really
Anyway,
cool.
But they not have
Yeah.
different colours on the nose, if I remember right.
No, they never did. They never did.
No,
I thought
This is a proper Corgi, genuine model.
it's one of the original ones rather than the CGI
Yeah.
ones, which is different. It's
Yeah,
the only things which kept the same name and changed the design.
they did have the the CGI one in now. But
Oh,
all
I
can
see.
say-
It's the Captain Scarlet one.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay, I
But
wasn't
all-
quite sure what that was from.
but that's why I had to bring up the music with it because when you hear
dun,
you know,
dun, dun, dun.
the sound of the angels, the jets are taking off.
When the angels
Yeah.
are flying into the sea, wing to wing.
So
Not that I
that-
know the
so-
future, you understand, but
Ben,
The thing-
don't start whining. That's Colin singing. Don't whine.
So this is
Sorry, it sets him off when he hears actually somebody doing that with chalk down a chalkboard.
yeah. All I can say is that the guy named Paul who sold me this, I'll put the name of his shop. It's in East London or say Essex.
Comics and
Comics and
Same.
fantasy.
Comics and
Lovely.
fantasy.
Hey, Ali, I did the same. Remember, I told you the one in Irvine. I go and see AIM.
Yeah. But all I can
I do the same.
all I-
Freebies, they
all I
got
can say-
it's good stuff.
yeah,
Let people know.
because he's still got those that alien from this island Earth still in there, and people get asking about it all the time. But
It just looks so
But,
cool. But
yeah.
I must be misremembering something here.
Mhm.
Because in my mind, the Angels was a French woman, a Chinese woman, an Indian.
I can name
African-American.
I can name them.
you only can name them because
Harmony,
you've actually got
Rhapsody,
them on your
Destiny,
channel
Harmony,
already.
Rhapsody, Symphony, and Melody. Yes, I can't remember which was which. Destiny was
Destiny, Symphony,
Destiny,
Harmony,
Blonde,
Rhapsody.
Rhapsody was the English one, and she was redhead.
She was Scottish, actually.
Was she Scottish? I thought she was English.
Yeah, she was redhead. You could tell she was Scottish.
Harmony was the Chinese one.
All
No, I
us
think
Scottish
Harmony
people
was
look-
the
And a Caribbean lady and English.
Now, come on, you can't be right. You're sounding as if that sounds like a diverse cast.
Well, I was going to say the thing
to do that in the
well, I
50s.
can't be remembering right because it's for 5 diverse women, and women didn't exist before 2015. Unless all 5 of them were no, they can't have been because Jennifer Lawrence hadn't been born, so she couldn't have played all 5 of them.
No, Jennifer Lawrence was the test pilot of the first Angel jet.
Well, duh. Yeah.
It's really Jennifer Lawrence, not Amelia Earhart.
Yeah. All I can say, thank you, Paul.
Didn't she play the part of Amelia Earhart 2 years before Amelia Earhart was born?
Yeah.
Probably, yes.
I followed his Facebook page. I've
Thank you.
hit like on that, so we'll give him a share as well.
No problem. Thanks, Wendy. It's just the thing is that I'm glad I discovered this comic book shop because if he's got any more Gearants and stuff or any other items in there, I'll be having it off his hands if I can afford it.
See, I'm
same.
wanting to tomorrow. I was planning to go into Irvine to the comic book store. My grandson's coming over, so I ain't going anywhere. Next weekend we've got family things on, so I can't go then either. So it'll be at least 2-3 weeks before I go. And the problem is, by the time I go, I'll be starting to save up for the Comic-Con, which is in Glasgow in March.
Gary, I can neither confirm nor deny your question. Your earlier question, I can neither confirm nor deny.
Nobody else here.
Look, come on. In all fairness, it's not Lady Penelope.
Yeah. Or Marina from Stingray.
Marina.
Don't sing that. I hate that song.
I know you
hate that song.
I don't know. You the last time I did that, you don't you think?
No, it's every time at the end of the episode Stingray comes on, I have to turn it off because it got on my nerves.
I've got songs like that as well. It's just like, no, I can't listen to that. It's like fingernails on a blackboard.
Yeah, there is a couple that are like that, but believe it or not, they're usually renditions of Scottish tunes. Depends who sings it.
But I just want to bring up Stingray. Troy Tempest was a right playboy, wasn't he?
Yes.
He had Marina and Atlanta, and he couldn't,
They'll tell you what, though.
He could actually decide he just didn't want to.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't as if Marina was going to go and tell anybody on him, was she?
Good point.
I think the thing is, I can't tell you, I can't remember which, but if you check and expand a lot, I mean, I remember I've got somewhere a couple of copies of specials from Starlog magazine.
Mm-hmm.
I've got
I remember.
And one of those has got all, and they've actually got backstories which positively link Captain Scarlet to Stingray.
Yeah,
because at least one of the Spectrum officers is ex-WASP.
Yeah,
At least one of them, I think, is ex-World Air Force, and also the mission to Mars that Captain Black was on that took out the Mysterons went and came back on a Zero X, which links them to Thunderbirds.
Yes.
So you've got a joined universe there for starters.
Yeah, but they threw it in the comics instead.
Yeah. I don't know how much that they explained.
I remember the girls from Captain Caveman, and I was about to say it, but Dee and Taffy, the Teen Angels. Not that as a young kid I sat and watched cartoons for any other reason than they were our cartoons.
But exactly, absolutely. I mean, there's never been any cartoons that excite young teenage boys like Heavy Metal or Fire and Ice.
We're talking about Heavy Metal, the film.
Yeah, yes, the cartoon.
Yeah.
Or Fire and Ice, and these films never existed that were actually quite attractive. That actually had interesting effects on young teenage boys. Some of that.
See, I never actually understood that until I watched Star Trek and Uhura appeared on the screen. But I'm never for cartoons or anything like that. But Star Trek, yes. Uhura was my first crush.
Cheers, Miranda. My first question.
Miranda, thanks for joining us.
Good night, Miranda.
Anybody else got a pick? Or anybody got a shovel? Anybody got a rake?
Well, sorry, you're from Scotland. You should have the picks.
Yeah. Oh, you know how to confuse an Englishman. You stand them in you show him 3 shovels and tell him to take his pick.
I thought that was an Irish nappy.
Well, basically, you were slagging the Scots, so.
No, I just said you should know your picks.
The Irish Navy is you put them in a barrel and tell them to stand in the corner.
Actually,
yeah, I know my jokes are terrible. What can I say?
Interestingly, do you know where I heard where the word navvy comes from? Why you Irish women are called navvies?
Why?
Navigators.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is it's short for navigational workers because they used to build roads and canals and
really?
That's true. Railways, yeah.
Roads and railways.
That's what I have where navvy comes from. It says navigational worker.
Well. I did not know that.
My first crash, PJ, shares something in common with your first crash, although she just.
You got out again. Just as you were talking about your first crash. You went out for 38 seconds that time. I don't know if there's a relation between you and us, but
my first crush was also a young lady of African descent. Although in her case, rather than opening coding frequency, she could actually teleport and telepath. It was Elizabeth Darwin from the Tomorrow People. That's right.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah.
She was my first crush.
Yeah, and I always thought Stephen was very lucky. Because there was 3 of them, and he was the only male. Was there 4 the young boy as well?
There was. It depends where you went. John was the only one that was in all 8 seasons. Elizabeth was in seasons 2 to 7, I think, and then gets back in 8. Sammy was Carol was in the first season. Sutai was in the later season. I think most of the others were all males.
I think he was in season 5, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Later on, And then there was a young boy. I can't remember his name. But
Kenny was in season 1 and again didn't come back. He disappeared after season 1. Stephen was the new Tomorrow person in season 1. Season 2 didn't been Tyso. Season 4, Mike, or Mike and Tyso the other way round.
Yeah.
The Scottish lad, no, Sutai would have been 5. The Scottish lad was season 6, I think. And I can't.
Yeah. And the good thing is, ladies and gentlemen, Colin's only ever watched it once. Way back in time.
Yeah, it's not as if it was one of the first seasons things I started collecting when I started collecting DVDs. along with Robin of Sherwood. You know, so obviously I collected the first things I ever collected.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's basically, that's the good thing about physical media. If you're watching it on YouTube or you're watching it on Tubi or you're watching it on Amazon or whatever, Netflix, you see the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing is, DVDs, most of them, there's not all, a lot of the earlier stuff has got the movie. Very little, pardon me, very little else. But you get extras, and usually they talk about the characters, they talk about the actors, and that's the good thing about why I like the physical media, because there's always extras.
Well, that's something for me in both, especially with the Tomorrow People and Robin of Sherwood, is that the behind the scenes bits are actually really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a bit like there's a scene in one of the Robin of Sherwood episodes where Robin and Guy are fighting in a river. And I think Robin swims off. I think this was with Michael Praed rather than Sean Connery. Not Sean Connery, Jason Connery. And in the commentary, Michael Praed says that says he swam off. And something that reenactors really detest on TV shows is what we call string mail, which is basically quite literally wool or something similar woven and made to look like mail. The problem with this is, in this case, it wasn't pre-shrunk, so he swims off and the mail, the wool is soaking wet and it starts shrinking and getting heavier and heavier. And Michael Praed says he credits the safety dive for saving his life.
Just goes to show.
Yeah, it's got, you know, and I said, I mean, I have to admit, Nick Young's commentaries on the Tomorrow People are less than complimentary in some places. They're exactly honest, but they're really great. They really are. Yeah. Some of the Peter, you're right. Some of the commentaries are excellent. And we won't even. I'm sorry. I refuse to accept that there are any Tomorrow Peoples after season 8. There were no remakes in the 1990s, and there were certainly no remakes.
Remakes in the 1990s was really bad. Them hiding underground and they were being hunted. I wonder where we got that before. Was there not one about people who were becoming the next evolution and they were being hunted by normal people? Or there's not one about, and that's what I hate. There was a trope of, they've got special abilities. Let's hunt them. Not a case of let's try and get them. And the worst part is they were hunting them. But
I can't remember
them. Other Tomorrow People, and you're saying,
I can't remember if the 1990s one was supposed to be a sequel to the original or not. I know the American remake was completely different.
Mm-hmm. But see, I remember that maybe it's American.
The day after. Comment to Gary Metrodox. I mean, that's really good.
Yes, Julie. Yeah, definitely.
Yes,
although Alan Rickman was great in that. But
did you not think that they always put that in a trope? They became a trope because the Tomorrow People, when it was on in the 70s, it had a particular genre. It was a sci-fi, these mysterious people helping out, and then when they tried to bring it back, they were suddenly being hunted. And it was a trope of people with abilities being hunted by people trying to get rid of the people with abilities, but they're using people with abilities to help hunt them. It was the same as Heroes. You had the organization try to hunt all the futures, or the Humans Plus, or whatever they called them. But they had people who had these powers hunting them to bring them down, you're sitting there thinking, that never made sense to me. You're using people with powers to hunt down people with powers because you want to get rid of people with powers. So why the hell would they help you? It didn't make sense because they knew if once they've hunted people down, they're next. So all they're doing is putting off the inevitable. So maybe they get to live another day, but it's not as if they're going out the way, and that's the part I never understood. I never liked about these type of tropes.
Yeah, if I remember right, I think thinking back on it, I suspect one of the themes about the Tomorrow People looking at puberty and changes in childhood in becoming an adult, because with one exception, if I remember right, all the Tomorrow People broke out at. I mean, Kenny was unusual.
Aye, but see, that was a good point of why these people appeared. That was a good enough point. But it's the trope of That's what I always hated when they used the trope. The earliest the Tomorrow People was not. It was basically a sci-fi series about these people with powers who are helping.
Yeah. Then that eventually they will replace the Homo sapiens. I've actually, one of these days, that's a book I've got to get around to reading. I've got to get around to reading Judith Merrill's book, The Tomorrow People, which is where they got the idea from, including where they got the word jaunting from, and I've never read it. But what I mean is one of the things interesting enough for from someone who's now a historian's point of view, there's the first story of season 2 has two stands out in my mind for two things. One, as I say, it was Elizabeth's first story, and B, this is where the first time I'd actually heard about the story that they base it on is these aliens who have to ferment fighting a disruption in order to breed. And the last time they were on Earth was in 5th century Byzantium, and they actually had massive riots in the rest. It was actually known as the Nika riots. And the story the Tomorrow People was based on was actually real events. They really were horse racing fanatic gangs in Byzantium, and they were named after colours. They really were blues, greens, reds, whites, yellows. That's the first time I came across. Years after I'd seen that episode the first time, I came across the Nika riots and all this sort of things. Like tie back to history. And yes, right. I try to forget Peter Davis's appearance.
Right. Before Wend has to go, can anybody remember the Babylon 5 episode, The Blues and the Greens? About the Drazi and they put the purple ribbon on or the green ribbon. Yep. Remember the Tomorrow People episode where it was the badges?
Yep.
They put the green badge or the blue badge, and it was that's what gang you were in. And it was, when I watched the Babylon 5, that's what it reminded me of. I said, I've seen this before. No. I was on the Tomorrow People with the badges. And it's trippy. To show something that you think is a good idea, and it's a very straightforward idea that put the Drazi, and this is how they got the leader, or you're the leader because you've got the silver one with you've got the one with the pin, so that makes you the leader. Doesn't matter if you're Drazi or not. And it was the same. It just reminded me so much of the one where somebody was giving out badges just to see how the kid would react with them, because they'd obviously and it was all to do with a brainwave, and it was basically they were fighting with each other because of the blue and the green. Babylon 5 reminded me of the Tomorrow People, and it just goes to show that it does go across. So the reason I stopped there because I remember when said about 10:30 she would need to go.
Thanks, PJ. Yeah, I'm gonna say goodnight to everybody. Thanks again. Another great Saturday night chat.
Yep.
I'm sorry I had to leave a little early.
Have you got anything coming up?
We're about to do our first official recording tomorrow afternoon for a week Sunday, which will be the first of our new season of the B Movie Cinema Show, where we'll actually be talking and back on, sort of hosting it and talking about the film while we're watching it. We've been showing just films and then having a bit of fun in the chat, which is always a great time. So that's exciting. So we're going to be recording a new film tomorrow, and then we are going to be playing one tomorrow about 8:30 on Mr. Hyde's channel. So that's about it, though.
Excellent. Looking forward to that.
Yeah. There's just so much fun. We're just having an absolute blast with it.
Technically, Kelly, she's related to 3. She's married to 1.
Well, this was an old episode, so at the time she's only related to 2.
She's married to 1. She's the father-in-law of another, and therefore, which means she's the mother of the one of the only female doctor, i.e., Jenny.
Well, she basically referred to 5 and 10.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, it was 5 and 10.
Yeah.
She was married by marriage to 14, but this was filmed several years ago, so it was 5 and 10.
Yeah. So does that mean
Peter, good night, Wendy. Good to see you.
Good night, Wendy.
Wendy.
Again.
Yeah, good night. Yep, good night, everybody.
And if possible, remember Wednesday for Briscoe County Junior.
I know. I'm going to have to try my best to see if I can see some of those episodes again. Thank you so much for pointing me in the right direction there. I loved that show, but I also adore Bruce Campbell and anything. So
yes,
but the show itself was actually really entertaining, though. Irregardless,
I do. Really good. John Ashton in it as well. Absolutely superb.
Yep. Cool. Yep. All right, everybody. Have a good rest of your evening.
Night.
Okay. Good night.
Kelly, were you the one that was someone? I can't remember if it was you yourself or Wendy or someone else in the chat put me on to the Corman Strike. We're talking about the Corman Strike series.
It wasn't I, but I've read part of the first book, and I have not seen the series yet.
No, because I've got the series, and for some odd reason, I watched the first episode once it's 2-parter. And then I come along and start watching the second story, and I'm getting, hold on a second, she's just starting out. It turns out the one that I had actually thought and said where I got it was series 1 episode was actually series 2 episode 1.
Huh.
Which was confusing because that actually goes back into his past, which was. So I just started. I'm quite enjoying it.
I haven't seen any of the episodes yet. I've only been reading the books, and in the first book, he does talk about his past.
Yeah,
but I haven't seen any of the TV episodes yet.
Yeah, but I think
I started reading the books.
Yeah, from what I can see, they seem to be doing them in the same order, I think, as the books. What I see,
the first one is the Cuckoo something or other.
It's just that sorry, I went again there. It's just that the first one I saw was actually what is actually the 2-part sword at season 2.
Right. No, I'm talking about the first book. Is that the Cuckoo something? I don't remember the name.
Yeah. That is actually the first series, the first story, and then the second or third one is actually a lot of it relates to his history, to his time in the army. And that's the one I saw first, which made sense in a way as a sort of an introductory, because you got to know who the character was because of his past.
As I said, I'm reading the book, haven't seen the series, so we learn about him as a person in the first book.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we do. I said, I've just started watching the first, is actually the first one. Actually, I don't think there's anybody I know I recognise in it, but I think they're quite good. I'm quite enjoying it.
Yeah, they are. They're very entertaining. If you see there's somebody on Twitter trying to say that since J.K. Rowling used a man's nom de plume, she's not a real woman.
Oh, I'm always tempted to go out and buy all the books just to spite these idiots. The same reason I'm tempted to go out and buy Hogwarts.
You've not seen what that dimwit actually did. He's got a lot of books, and he's redoing them, so
Yeah.
they've not got J.K. Rowling's name on it, and people are buying them for like $200.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there thinking, him, no issue.
I'll do it for 100.
Because he's got people who he'll buy a book for a couple of dollars, spend a bit of time putting a binder on it, and then selling it for $200.
Yeah.
The same book he just spent a bit of time on, and you're sitting there thinking, it's the nutwits that are buying this stuff. Him, he's just using his business, and he knows a market. And it's just a case of it's crazy. But the problem is with these people is, see, as soon as they say that, then you know fine well what type of person they are. And that's when I just ignore it. I just laugh at them.
I don't know if you saw, but there was going back to Velma. There was apparently there's a conspiracy theory coming out that it's actually a quote right-wing psyop to make the left big, because to make the left wing look bad because of the way it's so badly written. I'm thinking, someone kind of. I just think I do with that, and with the thing with Hogwarts Legacy and the rest of it. Are we actually watching? Is this actually an advertising thing for the specific purpose of using people's antipathy towards this crap to actually
see the problem?
So, you know, is Velma actually being sponsored by people with financial interests in DVDs and selling classic Scooby-Doo?
But you know the problem with that argument, right? If they turn around and say, well, it's actually not them actually doing it, what they're doing is sponsoring it, then all they're doing is giving people the money to be as stupid as they want.
Oh, yeah.
They're not actually, so it's not a psyop. If you actually turn to, if you know someone's actually going to actually paint a plane on a piece of paper and stand on that piece of paper and jump, if you give them the piece of paper, you're just actually letting them be stupid. You're not actually. It's a psyop to make them commit suicide. It's that type of thing. If you had people behind it or who were directing it or thing, and you knew where they were, but you're not. You're getting all these left-wit, half-wits.
Oh yeah,
writing it, producing it, and all that. So that's what I'm saying. The psyop part, Disney hold tight, because all you're doing is giving the nutcases the money, and they're already in those positions anyway. So you're not bringing specific ones in.
I don't think it is. I mean, I think Mindy Kaling. Mindy Kaling really is the brainless midwit she appears to be.
And the fact is, she keeps on getting bounced up the ladder. It's because they can't actually sack her, so they actually get her promoted out. That's what you do with all dimwits. You actually promote them up the way, because you can't turn around and say to somebody nowadays, "Oh, you're too thick, you need to go." They go, "Oh, really? Do you know he's actually real good? You should employ him as a manager. They're actually paying you more money. You should go." And that's where they get rid of they fail up the way. And it's the same any company, specifically in Hollywood, because nowadays they're not allowed to say no. So they have to promote them up.
Unfortunately, it needs one big company to turn around and say, no, I don't care about your politics. No, I'm not getting rid of you because of your skin color. I'm getting rid of you because you can't do the job. And stand. Have you seen? There's apparently the really great cell phones. Was it the BAFTAs? Where
the guy who stood up and says the only reason I'm here is because I'm black.
No, not that.
He admitted that the only reason he got the job in the first place, and the only reason he got to do the BAFTAs was because he's black. He
No,
admitted
no,
that the only
no.
reason he got the job.
Not that. Apparently, they did away with gender specific.
They got rid of gendered
Right.
roles, and everybody who was in it was
a
male.
male. Yeah, they got rid of all the best actor, best actresses, and everybody nominated was a male this year.
Yeah, it was all male,
Bloody
so
hell,
they
yeah,
didn't have
yeah.
gender specific ones. They
yeah.
had not gender free,
Idiots.
and it was all male.
Yeah.
You know, when you talk, it's funny. This whole thing about, you know, inclusivity reminds me. My dad was a history professor, British history in particular. And he told me one time about this group of people that was putting together a book about German soldiers in World War I. Jewish German soldiers in World War I, to be specific.
Mm-hmm.
And the cover of the prospective book had all men, because it was soldiers in the war. And back in the 19-teens, there weren't women on the front lines except if they were nurses.
Yep.
And they were still behind the front lines if they were nurses. So there were women historians who refused to be part of the project because there were no women in the book.
It just goes to show
it's absurd.
It is, because they want you to change the history to make them feel better now. Sorry, that's not how history worked. The fact that you have got such a high profile job is because of all these women who worked hard to make sure people didn't say, oh, you can't get it because you're a woman, or I shouldn't get it just because I'm a man. They're saying, shows your qualifications.
It's funny.
She's better qualified than you. She's better qualified than you. Back off. She's getting the job, and that's the way it should be. If you're going into a job, you should be a case of your job, your qualifications, and your experience. The rest of it is immaterial.
Back when I lived in New York, I was good friends with a woman who happened to be Black, and this is relevant, and happened to have a very responsible, important job at a well-known investment bank. Mm-hmm. And she'd gone to the University of Pennsylvania, which is an Ivy League school, and she resented affirmative action because she said people assumed she got in just because she was Black. And she said, just because I was valedictorian of my high school class
is why she got in.
People think I got in just because I'm Black. No, I got in because I was the best in my class. And she really, really resented, the people who got pushed ahead just because of their color of their skin.
Well, it's the same as over here, right? One of my friends, it was a good few years ago. It was about immigration, right? And he stayed upper close, right? For those who don't know what a close is, it's a tenement. So front door and the multiple thing, because we call that upper close rather than a tenement.
Yeah, I lived in a tenement.
Yep. So basically, he stayed upper close, and one of his neighbours said to him, "You must be happy because one of the new neighbour, I think it might have been Afghanistan, but I think it was." It could have been a different place, but he says you must be happy because you've got people from your own culture in the close. And he says, no. He says, I worked to get here. Yep. I had to supply documentation of my qualifications. I had to save up money. I had to go through the proper channels.
Yep.
He came across in a boat illegally. So why should I be happy he walked in and he's in the same house as I am, and I've been over here working for 7 years with my family, and I had 2 years just to get to emigrate. So why the hell should I be happy that somebody just walks in just because they're the same colour as me? And that was the attitude, is No, you think I'm like him who just walks in and gets everything. Yeah, I've worked hard to get the house. And I went through the same process as everybody else to be legible for that house. I've had to sit in the waiting list, but he walked in and got it. You think I'm the same? And that's what he hated. He absolutely despised that. Anybody who says, but it's illegal immigrants are fleeing, he says, no, because I was there 6 years ago and I went through the proper motion. The difference is the country's not changed that much. The only thing it's changed is people's attitudes to it. All you need to say is you're from this place and people just, the doors open. Because
both the UK and the US are being inundated with illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
Right now, I mean, just inundated. And it's harder to get into the UK than it is to get into the US because we've got that huge border over Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona and California. We've got like a 1,000-mile border open.
Yeah.
And
The only thing we've got to stop people is the English Channel.
Right.
The problem is the Royal Naval
We've got
Life
people from Cuba, which is 90 miles away, which is equivalent to the Channel.
Yeah.
But there are more people coming through the Rio Grande.
Yeah.
There are people
That's what I'm
dying.
saying. But see across from Cuba, you don't have. It would be your Coast Guard rather than our RNLI.
Well, I mean, there's also sharks.
Basically just loading them all up and actually bringing them over. They go out in a wee dinghy, they stop and bring them back. They stop them, load up the boats and bring them across.
Doing that too, but we also have people just flying into Mexico and walking across the border.
Mm-hmm.
And the left is thinking that they're going to let everybody in because all the Hispanic people in the U.S. are thinking, great, more Hispanics. But all of the Hispanics who are legally in the country, who went through it the right way, or the people who are of Hispanic heritage, who've been here, 200 years, they're appalled by this, which is why, Texas is still Republican and Florida is still Republican. Arizona, they stole the election. But locally, there's still a lot of Republicans there because they happen to speak the same language as a lot of people who already live there, that doesn't mean that they're happy that people are,
and that's the thing. It's making it easy for people to immigrate is different from letting people in. But that's what I'm saying. Right. We've got the problem. It's not because the French are letting them through. It's a case of these guys go on to the beach. There's a boat there. They say, it doesn't matter if the boat's seaworthy or not. They go out into the sea, and the Royal Navy are actually picking them up and bringing them all the way instead of saying, right, you should be back because this is illegal. They're saying, right, come on, here's a coffee while we drop you off and get you money and get you a hotel and get you 3 meals a day. Oh, it doesn't matter if most of the pensioners in the country can't afford to put their heating on and can't afford 3 meals a day, or people with kids, it's either heat the house or feed the kids. So it doesn't matter about that. We'll pay all that. And that's the problem. It's these politicians who think they're doing good, but they're not. They're doing what suits them because they think people will vote for them if they let them in.
Here in the States, we have what are called sanctuary cities, with using inverted commas. And New York is a sanctuary city. Los Angeles.
I think I know where you're going with this one. It's funny.
Yeah.
Leftist places are sanctuary cities. Meanwhile, governors like Ron DeSantis,
It's shipping them all into these sanctuary cities.
Greg Abbott,
there you go.
are sending
Martha's Vineyard
to these quote unquote sanctuary cities. And the sanctuary cities are wait a minute. You can't do this. We can't handle it. Meanwhile, tiny cities like El Paso are handling tens of thousands of people, and New York is whining about 50.
Well, you saw what happened when 50 of them actually turned up near people who had money. They suddenly actually got shipped off the island because they couldn't deal with it. sorry, your island is no bigger than some of the small villages that you're shipping people off to stay, yet you can't, yet you're all rich. Is that the difference? Yes, it bloody is.
Of course it is.
I can't abide it. Politicians are corrupt, and I don't know a single politician that's not corrupt. People who go into politics, not necessarily for the wrong reasons.
You gotta
But
find
once they're in, once they're in the cesspool and they know they can make money, it takes a special type of person to say no.
Say what you will about Donald Trump. He came out poorer than he went in.
Yeah, of course. You look at people who are actually on something like $150,000 a year, yet their net worth can go up from nothing to 20, 30 million.
Ocasio-Cortez.
Yeah, she went up to about 20 odd million. She was a
175K, and all of a sudden she's worth multi-millions. What the hell?
Yeah. So I wonder if she got all the back pay for him. And I'm not saying that she got it because she was lying on her back. I'm saying she got it backhanded.
Well, that's Kamala Harris. She made it on her knees. Heels up Harris, we call her.
Oh dear.
It's a disaster.
I'm not actually saying what is going through a Scotsman's mind with Kamala Harris.
Oh, she's a disaster.
Well, she's well named. Doesn't that mean him horrible?
She dropped out 3.5 years ago, before a single vote was cast. And everybody hates her. People on the right hate her, people on the left hate her. Which is why they're talking about this whole thing now with the top secret documents. There's talk here about finding a way to get rid of Biden, having Harris serve the last couple of months, appointing Newsom as her vice president.
But then again, I must admit,
third world country. I mean, it's disgusting.
I must admit, it surprised me how long, because when I was going to say they got voted in, but I don't want to use that terminology because that implies that people voted for them legally.
They didn't.
So when they got the jobs, I honestly thought he would last about 6 months. He looked as if he was on his last legs, and that the only reason he was chosen was because of that. Because they knew after 6 months the dementia, his health or whatever, and she was going to take over. And so they had 3.5 years, and they could say, "Look what we did."
Yep.
Through the back door.
Well,
absolutely.
Kelly, you can no doubt confirm with on this. What I'd heard was that the system, the way the American system works, is that I expected Biden to last for 2 years and a day, because if the vice president takes over for less than a 2-year term, doesn't count as a full term, so they can still stand for 2 terms. So the idea would have been we get Kamala for 10 years. It would have been the hopeful idea.
He'd have to win an election outright.
Yes. No, what I'm saying is the thought, the idea would be the worst case scenario would have been, if you like, that she'd done 2 years as Gerald Ford, and then she could still stand for 2 further elections. I think,
but everybody hates her.
Yeah, one reason why that plan's not going to work.
Yeah, nobody's going to vote for that cackling fool.
Yes. Fortunately, as it happens, you guys had the good sense to send the vampire packing, so she's no longer in power. So the Covenant 3, Kamala's extremely unpopular. The vampire has gone, and she who shall not be named, Hillary, He's the only one remaining.
Colin, you say the vampire's gone. Someone just put a stake through her bloody heart anyway.
Oh, she's just awful.
You think that'll make any difference? Why do you think she's always got her neck covered? So you can't see where the pipes go in that are pumping in the what do you call it, fluid, the embalming fluid.
I've actually always been proud to be a U.S. citizen because we were the first country that ever broke away from the parent, and we were a successful republic.
Yep.
Even though we did retain a lot of our British heritage, we retained common law.
Yeah.
We retained a whole bunch of different things that are good that came from Britain. But now I'm embarrassed. I mean, people that they would even elect Joe Biden. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist because everything I've believed has come true. All this COVID garbage has come true. All of it. Oh, God.
Oh, did you not see the most recent thing that somebody had dropped onto Twitter?
What?
That it's a news article. It was meant to come out next week or the week after. I can't remember exactly, about how these conspiracy the COVID conspiracy theists were wrong to not convince their family. Are wrong not to convince their family.
Is that I expected Biden to last for 2 years in a day.
Julie, you've got an echo coming.
I was going to say
you're listening to Colin, but no, that's what it is. It's basically saying everybody who didn't get a COVID vaccine are responsible for everybody who did because they should have convinced more people. So it's their fault that more people are having these adverse reactions.
If it worked, if it really worked and really prevented transmission, then nobody would care.
Exactly.
And now they're denying what they said before. They're denying that they said it was going to work.
Oh, did you not see the one about the head or CEO for Pfizer talking about they're actually going to mutate it because that way, but they need to actually make sure they don't do it too much, or else what happened in Wuhan will happen again. So in effect, they're saying they want to actually bounce it and mutate it so they could get new strains of it, which means more vaccines.
I don't trust any of them.
Nope.
I don't trust it. Politicians. If a politician's speaking, he's basically telling a lie. If he's keeping his mouth shut, he's got something to hide. No matter what they do, they're in the wrong for me because I just don't know.
Yeah. Well, right. To be frank, I think it's not. I think it's also the support structure of the various civil services or whatever the equivalent is. The quote deep state unquote. All the people that actually apply the legislation and the rest of it, as well as the politicians.
Yeah. Well, the problem is politicians are just corrupt and it's unfortunate. I would rather talk about geeky stuff, but what we're going to do is we're going to be finishing up shortly because I'm actually knackered. So been a long day. It could be a long day tomorrow. It's been a long couple of weeks of work. But that's a different story. And
I'm busy
for I better put my camera on for this. For any of my relations who have joined us, because we met up it was my uncle's funeral on Thursday. Obviously met a lot of family, and they all says, "You stream." Not one of them turns around and says, "Sure, you're not the type who would actually be talk all the time and actually be online." Not one of them. They all says, "What do you talk about?" They didn't ask me anything. They just assumed if I stream, that sounds about right. Gabby. So for all my family that's joined us, hi or hi.
Nobody would believe me that I would do this either.
No. The unfortunate is they all believe me. They didn't need. There was no doubt. There was no doubt, no questions, no a case of. Are you sure that's you? No. Yeah. They can see. Yep. He's the type of person that would just. Yeah. I'm a gab, and I can't deny it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to, but I'm okay with that. The way I look at it is if I'm talking and somebody can sit back and actually go, what a prick. I'm okay with it.
Should have a stream where we can roast you.
Yes, but that's okay. That's what your stream's for.
Thank you.
Listen, I've been roasted on this channel by that Roman one numerous times. I've been roasted on this channel by you numerous times. I've been roasted on this channel by Jim numerous times. I've actually been roasted that much. Actually, this is charcoal rather than actually bloody a beard.
Well, Roman's out getting plastered at the moment, so he can't say anything.
Good for him.
Right, he's getting pished.
Good for him.
Too right.
He'll be saying that by the end of the night. Oh, bloody love him.
I love you.
Right. So before we finish up, anybody got anything to show?
Not yet.
Anything to talk about?
Nothing.
Nothing. I'll just be in chat tomorrow at Wendology and Mr. Hyde's show.
No, she said she's recording it tomorrow for showing
Oh, well,
next
they're
week.
still showing another movie in the afternoon.
Are they still showing another one? Sorry, I thought she said she was recording it.
Oh, they're recording
for
next week's movie. But there will still be a movie tomorrow called Dinosaurus, and it's guaranteed to be awful.
Well, it can't be any worse than the bikini.
Oh yeah, it was pretty bad. This one is guaranteed to generate hot and cold running snark.
I'm looking forward to it. I thought that bikini one was it was that bad. It was
funny. It was terrible.
But it was that bad. It was funny. That's what I liked about it. It wasn't terribly bad. It was just funny bad.
Of the show, these movies. Well, there were some that actually have been good movies, like some of the old
Vincent
House of Rathbone movies.
Yeah.
Some of them have actually been quite good, but others are just terrible.
Yeah, but they're funny terrible because they're so terrible. It goes beyond that.
Yep.
I can't watch this. It's just I can't stop watching this.
Well, that's the whole point. I mean, it'll be a lot of fun. There'll be some obviously a good company.
Yep.
It'll be Mr. Hyde and Wendology and Grand Moff Miranda comes, and I'm there, and Retro Doc's going to show, and Blue Bonnet Huglin comes, and Peter Harrington's always there, and we have a good time.
Yep. Oh, definitely. I do enjoy it when I actually tune in. It's just a lot of the time, a Sunday, I'm getting things ready for back to work. So I don't always get a chance. That's terrible, I'm actually. So, Colin, you got anything?
Not really.
To show for FFSI? Not that somebody put something in the private chat saying
coming, but I can't reveal yet.
Oh dear.
We've got no, it's not till the week after next.
Yeah.
If I got my maths right.
So the week after next is this Captain Scarlet.
Yeah, Captain Scarlet, yeah.
And that's been broadcast simultaneously in both channels. Yep. That should be fun. Good thing is, it's hosted by neither Alec or myself.
Or me.
It's been hosted by Sadako. He's going to host it, and it's going to go out both our channels. So that way, none of us turn around and go, "Yours, not it's yours, not it's yours." We just blame Sadako.
Well, Sadako for that night will be Captain Scarlet.
He will be Captain Scarlet. Yep.
I will check it out.
Yeah,
Right,
looking
okay,
forward
right.
to it. So nothing to show, anything else, nothing.
No.
Well,
Got
the only
nothing.
other thing we've got is Wednesday night. Same bat channel, same bat time, is The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. We're going to be talking about it. There is, you can watch it in the US on Tubi for free. You can watch it in the UK somewhere else. I can't remember exactly where it was, but give me 2 seconds and I'll tell you where you can get it. Because it's on Tubi in the US. That's I know for certain. And for the UK, it is at the archive.org. You can get it on there for free. So you can watch the episodes. As long as you watch the first episode, you get an idea of it. So Bruce Campbell, John Ashton's in it. There is a Julian Clary, Casey. Oh God, Julian Clary he is Lord Bowler. He is a great. He's passed away, unfortunately, because they were talking about what would they do if they could make a continuation of it. But he's passed away, so they would have to have something around to replace him. But I can't imagine anybody. He was only meant to be. He wasn't meant to be as prominent, but he had such good chemistry with Bruce Campbell. They actually ended up arguing who was whose sidekick. It was fun. And then the best villain ever, Pete Hutter. He was only meant to be he was only meant to be in for the pilot episode and he gets shot. But he was so popular they brought him back. And he even actually addressed the fact that he got shot. He says, I got shot in the guts. I got better. I just don't eat as much. So basically, Briscoe County Jr. It is a Western. It is a sci-fi. It is an adventure. And it is an action. It is a good all-round, and it's a comedy. It is so well done. I would recommend anybody who got a chance, watch Briscoe County Jr. and see us on Wednesday on here. Then we're the week after is Captain Scarlet. Dun, 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 dun. So looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the next few because stay tuned. We have got a Discord server set up so we could actually show what's coming up in the advance for anybody who's want to. But I can't even remember what my Discord ID is, so I can't even say. I don't know if it's Discord enough. Can you search on Discord who uses it?
I'm not sure.
So
You're PJ maybe on Discord.
yes, I am. But that's what I'm saying. I don't know if Discord actually you have to have is it a hashtag 9030?
PJ maybe hashtag 9030.
Yep. So that's basically to join that you can go there and
it's called Let's Talk Geeky.
Yep. So there is a channel for that, so you can keep up to date on what's happening. I'm going to actually start doing it more. I've decided the fact that I've actually am 3 months ahead with all the, which I got into trouble for. Jim says, going to stop creating streams in the future because they're all popping up on his vote coming up soon.
Yeah,
so all the
it's confusing.
Occasionally, it suddenly, boom, he had them all for the next 3 months. Oops. Sorry. I just thought I would get ahead of myself. I should have put them all on unlisted and then just listed them as I needed them. But I decided I started off at episode 80 and worked back. And any time I was doing a Wednesday one, it's just because the way StreamYard does it, the most recent one in is at the top, which means if I started from today's and went down, that would have been all the way down the bottom. I would have had to scroll down. I'm lazy. So I did it in a particular way. Had to organise it so I got the dates right. Weird as hell. But ignore that. Yeah, Melvin. nobody touches Pete's piece. I love. He is my favourite character in that. I love Bruce Campbell's character. Don't get me wrong, but he is just as a side character. Eh?
Is that where they killed Kenny from?
Probably, but Pete is his character is one of the funniest ones because he's such a villain that how he's actually continues to be scary to anybody once you watch him every single time. He's just, I love Pete Hutter. Don't touch Pete's piece.
They only got to kill Kenny if they're bastards for killing Kenny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so ladies and gents, boys and girls, lads and lassies, thank you very much for joining us once again for Let's Talk Geeky number 69.
Oh, behave.
Oh, behave. Anyway, I'm no Kenneth Williams. I can't do it properly. So
stop mucking about.
Yeah.
No, that's Mike Myers, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Austin Powers. Oh, behave. Is it?
Oh, behave. No, that's Kenneth Williams used to do it.
Yeah.
Did he?
Carry on films. Yeah.
Yeah, he did it in the so he did.
Okay.
Anyway, until Wednesday with Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. Thank you very much for joining us, and until next week, Let's Talk Geeky. Bye.
Night, everybody.
Night all.